action. But this week, New Yorkers are reading and talking about another big show in town. It's hockey. It's an international event. And the first, the series of the century, the Soviets and their national team are here to meet the cream of the National Hockey League, Team NHL. The place, Madison Square Garden, a landmark for sports and entertainment. You fight your way through the traffic and somehow it seems worthwhile. Don't forget the chestnuts and pretzels, the street atmosphere. A little light entertainment for the fans is provided by an unusual band. Let's listen. Programs for this three-game series are not only a valuable souvenir, but a must to identify the Soviet nationals. Some unusual names tonight, but by Sunday they'll be as well known as the stars of the NHL. Even in midwinter, New Yorkers warm up to the hot ticket. Tonight, they've got the most expensive in hockey history, $25. But yours is free. So accept our invitation to Front Row Center and watch Broadway's newest hit, the series of the century, the great confrontation as the Soviets meet Team NHL. Game one of the series of the century, the Challenge Cup, is brought to you by your Chevrolet Oldsmobile and Chevrolet truck dealers, and by your Pontiac Buick GMC truck dealers across Canada, and by Molson, Canada's name and beer since 1786. The atmosphere here in Madison Square Garden is electric, similar to a heavyweight championship fight, and the anticipation has been building for weeks. For this is hockey's great rematch. Our best from North America against the best from Europe, the Soviets. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Hodge, and it's my pleasure to welcome our North American audience throughout Canada and the United States. You should also know that this series is being in the Soviet Union and is being seen in various parts of Europe, Scandinavia, and in Japan, plus on the BBC in Britain. You should also know that there will be a winner of this series regardless. It's quite simple in one respect. 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. But if each team has 3 points at the end of the third game on Sunday, there will be overtime played, sudden death overtime, with the first goal winning the Challenge Cup. You'll see some of the greatest players in the world in this series. Two of them are Guy Lefleur and Helmut Balderas. And we think we have broadcasters to match. Sharing the play-by-play duties in tonight's first game, Dan Kelly and Danny Gallivan. And we have expert commentators in the booth, two of the very best, Dick Irvin and Bobby Orr.
As the game goes along, Bobby will be talking about the flow of the play. But, Bob, you've been with the Team NHL players. What is the attitude?
Dick, I think it's a great attitude. They've worked hard all week. They're excited about the series. Although the Soviets do not show you much at practice, they know that this is the best Soviet team that's come over here in a long time, and they're ready. They're excited about the series.
What about the time of practice? Scotty says he thinks he's had enough.
I don't think that's a factor that they haven't played together that long. The lines, a lot of the lines are intact, or a couple players from the different lines are intact. I don't think that's a factor at all. They're ready. There's so much talent out there. If they bear down, play their games, I don't think there's any doubt that they'll win the series.
Okay, Bobby, thank you very much. Now we go back to Dave, who is now joined by Howie Meeker.
Howie's been watching the Soviets for a long time. We hear they might change this time. Play the body more and shoot the puck more. What do you think of that?
Well, if when Team Canada takes away center ice and they do shoot the puck in, and if they make a concentrated effort to control the offensive corners, but most important, in their own zone, free their forwards, their point men to come back and help out the defense when they're in trouble, they're going to be real tough to beat.
That sets the scene, and we're now ready for opening game ceremonies. We'll join the public address voice of Madison Square Garden right now, Carl Martin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Madison Square Garden. Tonight, the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association present the NHL Challenge Cup, the hockey series of the century. A three-game confrontation between hockey's two greatest powers, the All-Stars of the National Hockey League and the national team of the USSR. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the NHL Challenge Cup. And now let us welcome these two great competing teams, the national team of the USSR and the NHL All-Stars. Wearing number 7, Tsigankov. Also playing defense, wearing number 12, Sergei Starikov. And the forwards, number 17, Valery Khamalov. Number 16, Vladimir Petrov. And the captain of the Soviet team, wearing number 13, Boris Mikhailov. Wearing number 19, Larry Robinson. Our next defenseman is replacing Dennis Potvin of the Islanders, Boris Salming of Toronto Maple Leafs. Playing at left wing, wearing number number 22 from the Montreal Canadiens, Steve Shuck. Our center is wearing number 16. He's the captain of the team from Philadelphia, Bobby Clark. And from Montreal, wearing number 10, playing at right wing, Guy Lefleur. Soviet Union, Georgian Gitline, singing the Canadian national anthem, Roger Doucette, and singing the national anthem of the United States of America, Robert Merrill. And now, we ask you to rise for the singing of the national anthems, please.
Io
to the most valuable player in the last major international series, the 1976 Canada Cup, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, the incomparable Bobby Orr. Ceremony, and now to a worldwide audience of 300 million, something that will be in no way ceremonial. This is the Challenge Cup, live from New York's Madison Square Garden.
Scoreboard operator Paul Maslow.
And so the city of New York is the scene for the eagerly awaited Challenge Cup. Tremendous atmosphere here at Madison Square Garden. Right now, let's meet tonight's game officials.
My name's Ray Scapanello, and I'm one of the linesmen for this evening's game.
Bob Myers, referee for tonight's game.
My name's John D'Amico. I'm the other linesman for tonight's game.
So, like the players, the officials, under a lot of pressure in this big international confrontation, Bobby Clark goes to center ice for Team NHL. And with the play-by-play as the game gets underway, my colleague Dan Kelly. Dan?
Thank you, Dick Urban. Good evening, everyone. Game 1 of the Challenge Cup Series at Madison Square Garden in New York. Bobby Clark, the captain of the NHL All-Star team, ready to face off, and now we're having a momentary delay. The starting goaltender for the Soviet Union, Vladislav Tretiak, a man well known in international competition. And the starting goaltender for the National Hockey League, the Montreal Canadiens' great goaltender, Ken Dryden. Bob Myers standing at center ice, ready to drop the puck momentarily. And stepping in to take the face-off is Petrov, number 16 for the Soviet Union. Here we go in New York. Segenkov, number 7, firing it into the NHL zone. Borja Solming fired it back out. Soviet Union in red, the NHL All-Stars in their white uniforms. Steve shut into Bobby Clark. Clark into Lefleur. Shoots. There! Lefleur! 16 seconds into the hockey game, the NHL All-Stars take a lead, and the NHL All-Stars are pouring off the bench to congratulate Guy Lefleur. The fans chose the starting lineup. Clark, Shutt, and Lefleur at forward. And then they did the combining. Shutt and Clark inside the line, and a perfect pass from Bobby Clark. Lefleur, one-on-one against Tretiak. The first shot of the series, and it's the first goal. Better angle of it right here. And there it is, Lefleur deking Tretiak. A dramatic beginning for Team NHL. Shutt tied 2 men up at the blue line. Clark moved in on a 2-on-1 break and gave it to Lefleur. And the NHL has an early 1-0 lead. Now Zlukov, number 22 for the Soviet Union. Fires it into the NHL end. Hustling back and in possession is Borja Solming. Solming trying to work it out of there. Solming, number 26 in this series.
from the Toronto Maple Leafs, backhanding it on the board. Soviet Union had it momentarily, and now it's cleared, but not out. Lukov holding it in. Now picked up by number 11, Gilbert Perreault. Lead pass on right wing. There's a centering pass for Sittler, and he's pulled down, and there's going to be a penalty to the Soviet Union as the centering pass came from Lanny McDonald to Sittler, who was pulled down.
The Challenge Cup, the series of the century. Well, we've had quite a beginning. At 59 seconds, Schluchthoff of the Soviet All-Stars hooking the call against Darryl Sittler as again the NHL had a 2-on-1 break. That's what you call a good penalty. First power play of the series.
The earlier scoring play was Lefleur from Clark and shot after only 16 seconds. And now the NHL on a power play, and they'll try and work it in. Schluchthoff is in the penalty box. Here's Marcel Dion, number 17, feeding it over on right wing. McDonald cuts in behind the Soviet goal, tied up on the play by Pervukin. Sittler trying to poke it out on the other side. Dion moves in, collides with Vladimir Golikov. Puck in behind the net. Sittler trying to get it loose. McDonald gets it to Sittler, got it in front, and it's cleared away by the Soviet Union. And back is Borje Salming, number 26. 1-0 for the NHL. Here's Gilbert Perreault, number 11, feeding it in, broken up at the blue line and cleared away by the Soviet Union. Vasily Pervukin, number 5, breaking it up. The NHL on a power play. Salming to his own wide. Leads a 5-man rush, dumps it in. They hustle in after it. Puck loose in behind the goal. Pervukin trying to tie it up for the Soviet Union. Now being forechecked in the play. Now Pervukin comes up with the puck and fires it off the boards down into the NHL end of the ring. 40 seconds left in the Soviet Union penalty. Gillies back in behind the NHL goal to number 17, Marcel Dion. Here's Dion. Lead pass on left wing for Clark Gillies to the New York Islanders. He's checked, and clearing at the center ice was Velyelednov. Here's Larry Robinson. At center to Trottier, tried to clear it in. Broken up at the blue line. Robinson has it again. Feeds it off the boards into the Soviet Union end. Storikov is back to touch it, and the icing is called against the NHL.
Well, before tonight's game, we talked with one of the NHL players, Darryl Sittler of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Asked him about the attitude in the dressing room before the big one.
We have a team of players with a lot of individual talent, and putting us all together for just 3 days, I don't think creates any problem at all. We got a lot of enthusiasm, and we're ready to take on the Soviets.
Well, indeed, they were ready at the start. Bobby Orr has joined us, fresh from yet another standing ovation. Robert, congratulations. A quick goal and almost another one. The Soviets are
spotted in an aisle. They're coming up. It was a great goal.
Here's Barry Beck from the faceoff, number 4. Beck behind the NHL goal. Only 5 seconds left in the Soviets' penalty to Schluchthoff. Beck feeding it in on the wing. Here's Trottier, number 20, fired it in front, and Tretiak grabbed it and held on. Tretiak, the Soviet Union goaltender, holding on for a faceoff.
He's just 25 years old. Seems as though he should be older than that. Of course, became famous in 72 and has been a top international goaltender ever since. Well, there you see why. At 16, he was in the major league.
Well, Dick, it often happens when you come into a short series like this. A goaltender could get hot. It was in 75 when I played in Boston. We played Chicago, and we beat Chicago badly in Boston the first game. We go back to Chicago and lose, and we come back to Boston for the third game. Tony Esposito stops 55 shots and we're beaten. So this is a tough series. A 3-game series is tough.
Face off in the Soviet end of the rink. They come up with the puck, and here's number 9, Colvin, to center ice. Firing it into the NHL end of the rink. Soviets are back at full strength. Robinson, number 19, back to get it. Lost it. The Gankov shot was blocked. Now the Soviet Union. Colvin, number 9, cutting in front, and he was checked by Robinson as he went to shoot. Robinson, number 19, in his own zone. Beating it over onto the other wing, and now they get it to Borje Salming. Salming out of the NHL end of center ice in on right wing. Cutting in and trying to make a play with Hedberg. Hedberg tied up on the board. Now the puck winding up underneath a couple of players. Cleared away, and Varnikov, number 10, tried to get it out, held in. Here's a shot! Just wide off the stick of Ulf Nielsen for the NHL. NHL leading 1-0 and almost scoring again. Here's Schwartzoff, number 11, with a lead pass back to Schwartzoff, and the shot was blocked by Salman. Cleared out on the wing. Lefleur has just come onto the ice, and here's Guy Lefleur. Lefleur, number 10, and Barber over on right wing was in ahead of the play offside.
To set things up for Team NHL, the players who are not playing tonight: Denny Potvin, Rod Greshner, Robert Picard, Don Marcotte, goaltender Jerry Cheevers, and Guy Lapointe of the Canadiens. If you look at Schwartzoff, who played for the Soviet Wings against 4 NHL teams in January. Scotty Bowman surprising a few people. His lineup consists basically of 14 forwards and 4 defensemen.
Here's Savard racing after a loose puck, giving it to Lefleur. He's tied up by Petrov, now to Mikhailov, dropping it back to Harlamov, flipped it in front, and Lefleur takes over. Lefleur to Marcel Dion. Dion to Lefleur at a bad angle, cuts behind the net, tried to center, and it rolled off his stick. Petrov trying to get it out of there. Held in. In behind the goal is Dion. In front, and Schutt couldn't get a stick on it. And the Soviet Union clear at the center ice. Lefleur has it again. He's checked now, shot over onto the other wing. Schutt knocked it down. Going back is Vasiliev, number 6 for the Soviet Union. The number 17, Harlamov. Flips it to center, but right on to Steve Schutt's stick. He cleared it in and hit the referee, Bob Myers. Soviet shoot at the center ice. And unable to control it was Starikov. Now a penalty coming up against the Soviet Union. Here is Beck. Moving it in on right wing to Savard. He bumps at the blue line, and going back is Fedorov to get the puck. And Petrov is going to get a penalty for the Soviet Union.
Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup. Second penalty of the hockey game. That one to Petrov for hooking on Steve Schutt. Bobby, the first NHL power play, the Soviets defended very well.
If this is any indication how the series is going to go with the checking, Dick, first 5 minutes, the checking's been unbelievable, and the Soviets did a heck of a job killing off their first penalty.
How about the skating?
Unbelievable.
Brian Trottier, number 20, ready for a face-off. NHL trying to hold it in. They do. Trottier centers. Here's a shot by Bossi, blocked at the defense. And carrying back is Lukov for the Soviet Union, clearing it down the ice. Dryden sets it up for number 10, Guy Lefleur. Lefleur for Trottier. NHL on a power play. Trottier feeding it in on the other wing. Now dumping it in behind the net, but intercepting it as Verbuchen. He tried to clear it, held in by the NHL for Lefleur. Lefleur shoots, and it just deflects wide. Cutting in from the other point for the NHL, and trying to hold it in. They center it, and the shot by Bossi stopped by Treshak. Now it is Trottier. Now they drop it back to Lefleur. A drive, and off of Verbuchen and wide of the goal. And the Soviets clear it away. Couple of close chances again by the NHL. Lefleur back to get it. Now it's Gilbert Perreault, number 11. Perreault trying to cut in. Does. Still has it centered up there. He scores! Bossi! On a beautiful setup.
Bobby, I tell you, Sir Savard said to me about a week ago, he says they can't keep Gilbert Perreault off that team. What a play he made to set up Mike Bossi.
Unbelievable. I can remember Gilbert in 1972. Watch the play here.
Well, he
splits the defense, goes between both defensemen. Bossi's right there. This is a great play, wide open net. But in 1972, he played unbelievably. Here it is again, between the two defensemen.
Well,
he knows Bossi's over there.
This kind of hockey is really built for Gilbert. With a free wheel, of course, that's what he can do. Mike Bossi, the incredible young goal scorer.
In 72, he could have played. He played a couple of games. They got into a few problems. And again in 1976, I thought he played well enough in training camp to play. But he's a fantastic hockey player.
Let's not forget in 72, the first game they had an early 2-0 lead in that one.
Here's Savard as the team's back at full strength. Barber clearing it in for Bobby Clark. Treshak feeding it out on the wing. Starikov fires it out to center. Savard shoots it back in, and Bill Barber was trapped in there, and it's called an offside at the Soviet Union blue line.
Bobby, the emotion is very high to begin with, and you'd have to think that the crowd, if nothing else, helps the team NHL as we take another look, a better look this time of the play by Farrell. Look at the pass.
He knows Bossi's there, too. That's unbelievable. Just a great goal.
Here's Geinie now for the NHL across the Soviet line. He's checked, held in by Clark. To Geinie in the corner. Geinie bumped out of the play by Seguinchuk. A jam up back to the net. And the bumping seems to be building as we go along. And Clark and company force a faceoff.
This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York.
2-0 for the NHL. Lefleur from Clark and Shutt at 16 seconds, and then Bossi on a power play from Perreault and Lefleur at 6:42. Ready for a face-off to the right of the Soviet goal. Clark wins the draw. Here's Barry back shot from the puck. Clark or Barber, either one may have tipped it in. If back when the shot goes.
I don't think it's going to count. I don't know. The NHL's upset. I don't think it's going to count. Hang on. No, the face-off's coming outside the blue line. They're going to rule like
to see this replay, Dick. The rule reads that you're supposed to...
The rule was kicked in.
Aim the puck into the net with your skate. I'm not so sure. Take a look here. Well, that just hit Barber's skate, I think. All right. I don't know. What do you think?
That's a tough one. He was tied up, certainly. I don't know how he could get the foot free. He was tied up in front of the net. I don't know. Close one. Still 2-0.
Here's Salming for the NHL, squirting a long one in. Krejcik makes the save. Vasiliev trying to feed it out on the wing, and the Soviet Union trailing 2-0. Colvin to center ice. Checked by Robinson. That's Fedorov, number 2, back together. Soviets work at the center ice. Bortsov, number 11, shooting it in on the left wing boards. Hustling back and getting to the puck with Salming. He's checked. Now it's cleared to Sittler at center. Daryl Sittler trying to get away from Vasiliev, who tied him up. And Colvin has it back to Vasiliev. Feeding it into the center ice area all the way down the ice. And going back is Borja Salming, and as he touches it, icing against the Soviet Union.
Well, Scotty Bowman has the job of coaching Team NHL. Before the game, we asked him about getting them ready in a short space of time.
Well, I think we've had enough time. Our players have played together on their respective clubs, and I don't anticipate that being a problem. We very well know what the Soviet team is like. They've added some new players, and that's notwithstanding any surprises that they might pull off. But I think we know their basic plays.
To this point in the game, the NHL has outshot the Soviet Union 4-0. And the NHLers have made good 2 of the shots. Here's a centering pass to Perreault. Broken up, the Soviet Union start back. Mikhailov to center ice to Petrov, back to Mikhailov. Mikhailov, backhand shot. Blocked by Robinson. NHL trying to get it out, and they do into the center ice area. Number 5 is Vasily Pervukin. Over to his defense partner, who is Starikov, or Belya-Levinov now, number 14. Belya-Levinov in his own end of the rink. Rink-wide pass for Pervukin. The Soviets work it to Petrov, number 16 at center. Petrov shoots it into the Soviet, or to the NHL end, and Lanny McDonald back to get it. McDonald is bumped behind the net. Going to be a penalty on the play. And a high sticking penalty coming up. McDonald and Starikov collide in the corner.
You are watching the series of the century live from Madison Square Garden. First power play chance for the Soviets, who are still looking for their first shot on goal. Lanny McDonald gets a high sticking call, and here you see the reason as McDonald and Mikhailov come together. So the Team NHL penalty killing unit out there.
And Bobby Clark immediately wins the faceoff. Cleared at the center. Fedorov has it there, being set by Geinie. And now it's the potion number 8 for the Soviet Union. They backhand it in. Hustling back is Borja Salming behind his own goal. Salming picking an opening and clearing it by Vasiliev. And down the ice. NHL shorthanded. Number 2, Yuri Fedorov. Working it to Vasiliev on right wing. He shot at the center. Savard has it, gives it to Geinie. Number 23, Geinie, back to Salming. as the NHL kill off the penalty, and Solving slaps it off the boards and down the ice. 2-0 for the NHL. 1 minute and 17 seconds left in the penalty. Lead pass for Balderas at center ice was too far. Geinie to the Soviet blue line. We're now to Savard. Savard flipping it over onto the other wing. And Kapustin, number 8, takes over. Kapustin with a pass in on right wing for Balderas. Shoots, and Dryden goes to his knees and makes his first save of the game.
9 minutes and 32 seconds into the first period before Kenny Dryden is tested by the Soviets. Lanny McDonald off for high sticking at 8:31. He has 59 seconds left to serve.
I think Scotty, here's the replay on a Kapustin shot. No hesitation. Uses defenseman. Was that Savard? Served for a screen, and Kenny makes a great save. But I think Scotty has decided killing penalties is going to force a play, Dick. He's sending both Clark and Geinie in deep, and I think it's confused the Soviets a little bit.
From the face-off, Robinson to Savard in behind the net, flipping it up over the glass, and the face-off again will be deep in the NHL into the rink.
Well, there's Sergei Makarov. He was in the World Junior Championship last year in Montreal, and he was outstanding. Was a substitute, if you will, for the Soviet national team in Prague at the World Championships, and has made the big team this year. A very highly regarded young man just out of junior hockey.
He centers the Golikov brothers on this Soviet power play. Face-off, and the NHL coming up with a draw and winning the face-off and clearing it into the center ice area was Zolf Nielsen. Soviet Union on the power play. In there, forechecking again is Nielsen. Vladimir Golikov, now they work it to the other Golikov. He's the center with Makarov tied up from behind by Barber, and Nielsen flips it up over the boards, and the face-off will be in the NHL into the rink as we're down to 31 seconds left in that penalty against Lanny McDonald.
Probably you'd have to think the former Swedish stars, Nielsen, Hedberg, Solving, they got to be just a little bit charged up.
Oh, I talked to them before the game. I've talked to them the last couple of days, and they're very, very excited about playing for the NHL All-Stars and just being here in this series. They're very excited.
I told them to be a big audience back in Winnipeg, where he played so well for a few seasons.
There'll be a big audience a lot of places there. But they're fine hockey players.
Now Trottier on a face-off against Vladimir Golikov. 31 seconds left in McDonald's penalty. Now the other Golikov brother, Alexander, takes the face-off. Puck comes to the Soviet line. Makarov, the young player Dick Urban was talking about, works out of his own zone. Number 24, Makarov. Moving in, leaving it. Golikov shoots, and it's tough by Dryden. Alexander Golikov with a quick wrist shot.
Well, there's the Russian head coach, Viktor Tikhonov, and we asked him before the game, and you'll hear his answer through an interpreter. What if the games get rough and fights break out?
Several correspondents here in North America have asked me regarding the Soviet involvement if there is a fight. Why fight when we have so many millions of dollars worth of talent on the ice to show the public good hockey?
Clark on a face-off against Vladimir Golikov. Puck in behind the NHL goal from the face-off and cleared down the ice. 10 seconds left in McDonald's penalty. And that's Starikov, number 12, behind his own goal to his defense partner, Sagenkov, as the Soviets start to work it out again. Sagenkov into the center ice area. Hustling in is Golikov. Check, another chance. Dryden, the save! And the puck is cleared away by Robinson up over the glass. Good chances as the power play came to an end. This is live coverage of game number 1 for the Challenge Cup.
This is Madison Square Garden, New York. I'm Dick Irvin, along with Danny Gallivan, Dan Kelly, and Bobby Orr in the broadcast booth. 9:19 left in the first period. Team NHL ahead 2-0.
And the NHL is back at full strength. Barry back, number 4, feeding it out on the wing for Trottier. He's tied up on the play by Sportsock. Soviets holding it in, but now cleared to center ice by Bossi. Going to be a penalty to the NHL, I believe, to K.Gillis. Shot into the NHL end. Beck is back to get it, and as he does, time is called, and the penalty coming up, I believe, against K.Gillis.
Could be a charging call against Gillies, who really reefed the Soviet player along the board just inside the NHL blue line.
You're going to find that the Soviet players are so strong. They may not fight, but there's just no way. There it is. Get the elbows up a little high, but there's no way that we're going to run them out of the rink. They're so physically strong. They may not fight, but there's no way that we're going to run them out of the rink. They didn't come over here to be run out of the rink. They know we play a physical game, there's no way we can run them out of the rink anymore. There was a time maybe we thought we could, but not now.
Now, Team NHL facing back-to-back Soviet power plays right here.
The man that Gillies hit was Mikhail Barnikov. Soviets on the power play now. Petrov gets the draw, but Savard trying to feed it out of there. Mikhailov knocked it down. Checked by Clark, who got it to center. Now Harlamov, number 17 on right wing. Harlamov dropping it back to Petrov to Harlamov. Harlamov on the right wing boards being watched by Geinie. Now back for Harlamov. Harlamov getting it to the point. Shot by Vasiliev. They score! Mikhailov on the rebound after Vasiliev shot was stopped. They were there to poke on the rebound, and Boris Mikhailov gets the first Soviet goal.
Well, Bobby, when you kill two penalties in a row like that, sometimes it can get you backed up a little too much.
Well, against this team, their power play is so potent. We had a chance, Trottier had a chance to shoot it down. We didn't get it out, and makes a great stop on Vasiliev, and Mikhailov, I think, gets the rebound. I think he knocked it out of the air, Dick.
Good timing for him.
But with the Soviets, the power play is so strong, it's just a matter of time.
Here's Lefleur again, number 10 with a shot, and Krejcik makes the glove save and held on.
There's something the fans may not know, that the rule has been changed. I don't know if you've mentioned it, Dick, or not, but the goaltenders are allowed to freeze the puck. They waived that rule for this series.
We're going to look at the goal by the Soviets, and right out in front of the net, Mikhailov is there. They leave him just for that instant in the slot, and his body said he whipped it out of the air.
Vasiliev getting one assist. Here's Lefleur for the NHL trying to center it. Steve shot in front to Dion. A shot. Great check to save. Lefleur puts the rebound just wide. And the Soviet Vasiliev clears it to center ice to Balder. Off the stick and picked up by Robinson. Robinson couldn't clear it, but now Shutt does get it out for Dion to Lefleur. Guy Lefleur has it knocked off the stick. Robinson to Shutt. Shutt trying to feed it in. Balderas had it. Here is Steve Shutt on left wing. Shutt trying to make a play. Flips it over for Lefleur. Guy Lefleur tied up, breaks loose, moves into Dion and off his skate and cleared away, and an interference penalty coming up against the Soviet Union.
The Challenge Cup is coming to you live from New York. First major snowstorm of the winter season hit New York City yesterday. 7 inches fell. Didn't dampen the enthusiasm for the hockey series. Nice day today, and Madison Square Garden is jammed.
The second penalty of the game to Shlukov of the Soviet Union, their third penalty. An earlier penalty was costly as the NHL scored on a power play by Mike Bossi. So Shlukov in the penalty box. Nielsen centering Shutt and Lefleur. Salming and Dion will be the point men. On the faceoff, Vladimir Golikov, I believe, is going to be tossed out of there by the linesman John D'Amico. He is. And his brother takes the faceoff. NHL on the power play. Here's Nielsen to Lefleur. Lefleur to Dion. Dion to Salming to Lefleur. The shot blocked at the defense. And the Soviet took Lefleur, and then Alexander Golikov clears it down the ice. Dryden feeding it to Dion. NHL leading 2-1. 7 minutes, 15 seconds left in the first period. Here's Dion on left wing to Shutt. Shutt bumped on the play, and coming up with it is Belyaledinov. He's checked. Dion starts back and tied up at the blue line, and the play was offside anyway at the Soviet blue line.
Well, there's the fellow who has the penalty, Viktor Zlutkov, and he is a character in the Soviet workouts. He has been one of the players, and you don't see many of them in the Soviet team, who's been laughing, joking, talking, and not too many of them do that. The Soviets don't have any specialists. If it's your turn to be on the ice, you could be on the power play, you could kill the penalty. And right now, Coach Tikhonov has the Golikov brothers out there.
And as penalty killers, NHL still with the man advantage. Boris Salming having trouble against Vladimir Golikov and goes back behind the NHL goal. 1:13 left in the Soviet penalty. Salming out of his own zone to Perreault on right wing, knocked away by Pervukin. Now Alexander Golikov back to the line for Belyaledinov, over for Pervukin to Belyaledinov again. Belyaledinov to center ice for Alexander Golikov, who cleared it down the ice. Here's Lefleur. Dropping it to Boria Coleman. The NHL on the power play. Coleman feeding it in on the wing. They dump it in behind the net. Hustling back is Velyaledinov. He's tied up in the corner. Sickler in there trying to get it loose. Now Velyaledinov moving out on left wing and clears it off the boards and down the ice. Lefleur going back. 28 seconds left in the penalty. Lefleur over on left wing to Sickler. Now to Trottier. Picked up on the right side. Here's Bossi to Trottier and intercepting it with Starikov. He goes to the corner. NHL trying to work it in front. Cleared away by Tsegankov off the boards down the ice. And Savard going back to get it. Only 8 seconds left in the Soviet penalty. First Savard checked, and as Petrov knocked it in, Mikhailov was trapped in there offside at the NHL blue line.
Bobby, a lot of talent, and as you pointed out at the top of the show, the boys put the pressure on. Feel pretty good about all this.
Well, they're excited about playing, and in the first 10 minutes they had everything going. Up 2-0 on that power play there. I didn't think they skated like they did on their earlier power plays, and I've yet to see a power play that would work if you didn't skate and dump it in and going after it. And we didn't do it, and the Soviets killed it off very well.
What a chance Dion had there just before the penalty, and Tretiak was up to his old tricks again.
Trottier winning the face-off, getting it to Savard. Now Zlukov is back on. The Soviets have killed it off. Puck cleared down the ice. Starikov back to get it. Clearing it on the board. Can't get it out of there. Now the Soviets do work at the center ice. Here's Petrov. Shooting it in, but right on to Serge Savard's stick. Lead pass on left wing for Clark-Gillies. Gillies is checked in the play by Tsegankov. They fall heavily into the boards, and back comes Mikhailov. Tied up by Beck on the play, and Beck flipped it right up over the boards, and we'll have a face-off at the NHL team's blue line. I was thinking, Dick Irvin, when you were talking to Bobby Orr about the 7 inches of snow in New York yesterday, what he's had in Chicago this year, that's been just like a few flurries yesterday, Bob.
It's been a rough winter, Dan.
The captain of the Soviet team, Mikhailov, out on right wing. He scored their goal on a rebound. Here's Petrov to Harlamov. Harlamov, number 17, always a dangerous player, leaving it at the point, and the shot by Starikov was cleared by Dryden, and then dumped out into the center ice area and up over the boards by Clark-Gillies.
Look at the crowd, or a portion thereof, that seems to have jammed this building. There was a story this morning in the press that there were tickets still available, but I think whatever tickets were available were purchased between then and game time.
Soviets with Petrov, Karlamov, and Mikhailov. Here is Beck firing it around on the boards on the other wing. Comes to center ice. Karlamov has it there. Gillies trying to steal it. Gillies got it across the line. Now the NHL on the attack. Centering pass right through the goal crate. And back come the Soviets. Here's Karlamov. Checked by Beck, who turned it around on the board. Hedberg, number 15, got it to center ice. Petrov knocked it down. Petrov beating it ahead. Soviets drop it to Harlamov. He's checked by Barber, who flips it to center. Now Tsegankov got it to the NHL line, and Barry Beck to Barber ahead on the wing for Geyni. Geyni trying to work around that. Beautiful play by Bob Geyni.
Boy, that's what you might call a bit of an unexpected goal, Bobby.
Defensive player of the year again. What a great goal. See? Watch how he gets his body out. Here's a good... Gets his body out there. There's no way he can stop him. What a great shot by Bobby. Just a great goal.
We better look at it here. Starikov was the Soviet defender, number 12. Geyni kind of gave him a bit of a change of pace as he moved around him. And he found the opening top corner short side. 3-1 NHL.
Barber gets an assist, but a great move by Geyni going down the right side. Now Zlukov in his zone in. Passing it over for the defenseman Fedorov, number 2. Got it into the NHL zone. Zlukov holding it in. Now Clark for Geyni. Too far ahead, and Vasiliev, number 6, back in his own zone. Here's Clark in forechecking on Kapustin. Now they work it out on right wing to Zlukov, and off his stick up over the boards into the penalty box.
Here's Bob Geyni, who is a little bit doubtful as this all got started. He missed the Canadiens' last game prior to the All-Star break. Hamstring pull. Didn't skate until The second practice in, and there it is. Bob, I was thinking, though, just prior to that goal, the Soviets were starting to take the play away from
I thought they were, Dick.
15:48 the time of the goal. Geinie from Barber and Beck, the scoring play to make it 3-1. Now the Soviets working it to the NHL line. Dryden clears the long shot away. Working it out on the left side for Geinie. Too far ahead. Clark hustling down after it. Beaten to the puck by Lukov, number 22. He runs Clark in against the board. Now Balderas, number 19. Shot it right onto Geinie's stick. Geinie fires the long one back in. Stachak makes the save. And Fedorov out of his own zone. Long shot wide of the goal. Dryden sets it up for Robinson. Cleared it on the boards. Knocked down on the play. Here's a centering pass by Lukov, and unable to get a stick on it was Sakosta. The NHL have a 3-on-1 break, but Vasiliev was there to poke it away. Now Gilbert Perreault comes up with the puck, but then when Balderas touched it, it was called on a delayed offside.
2 minutes and 49 seconds left in the first period. Let's go down to our studios and join Dave Hodge.
In the first intermission, I'll be talking with the captain of the NHL All-Stars, Bobby Clarke. We'll take a close-up look on film at one of the great Soviet players, Sergei Kapustin, and Howie Meeker and I will discuss with highlights this first period.
NHL 3, the Soviet Union 1. Savard shot at the center ice. Now Schwartzov getting it in on the wing. Schwartzov takes the bump. Soviets controlling it. Schwartzov centering it and broken up by Savard as Varnikov let the weak shot go. Now Varnikov trying to work it in front. Perreault cleared it on the boards, and McDonald shoots it down into the Soviet zone with Vilyaletnov, number 14, back to pick it up. Vilyaletnov feeding it up the middle. Varnikov has it. Now over onto the other wing, and Verbuchen carries. Verbuchen in across the line, flipping it through Koven. He's checked, and back comes Beck. Barry Beck with a lead pass up over the boards near the Soviet bench, and the faceoff will be just inside the NHL blue line.
That was a fellow that they said could be one of the roughest of the Soviet players, Vasily Verbuchen. But Bobby mentioned that you just don't push these fellows around anymore. He's a newcomer into the national scene the last few years, and he can be rough. Soviets are missing 3 strong players. Fedosov, Maltsev, and Lutsenko, all regulars, all back in the Soviet Union injured. Of course, Team NHL missing a few, too. Brad Park, Tom Feld, Potvin not in uniform tonight, neither Lapointe.
Here's Lefleur running Starikov in against the board. NHL in possession, and Borja Salming behind his own goal. Salming on the defense with Robinson, and Salming pulls away from Alexander Golikov. Now flips it into the center ice area. Just to Dion, hopped over his stick, but Lefleur has it. Lefleur in on right wing, and the pass goes off the stick of Alexander Golikov up over the glass.
Bobby, I think this fellow Borja Salming, the longtime Swedish star, Toronto Maple Leaf All-Star, is going to see a lot of ice in these next 3 games.
He's a heck of a hockey player, and there's no doubt that Scotty will give him a lot of ice. He's excited about playing against the Soviets. And when he played in Sweden, they were beaten quite often by the Soviets, so I'm sure he's very happy to be out there and hopefully beating them tonight and over the weekend.
The NHL in possession, and Schutt trying to shoot it in, and apparently the puck went up over the boards again into a flock of photographers who are in that area.
Steve Schutt was selected by the fans in the voting in the 17 NHL cities to start at left wing. Must point out that Tony Esposito did receive the most votes at goal, but the goaltending was the coach's prerogative, and Dryden is starting in the fifth.
Esposito is the backup tonight. Here are the Soviets. Starikov in his own zone. They fire it out to center ice for Makarov. Now on left wing for Alexander Golikov. Overskates the puck. Gets it again, but Lefleur steals it. Here's Lefleur to Schutt. Steve Schutt, slap shot, and off of Krejcik's right arm. Cleared away now by Segenkov. Soviets got it to the line. Dion holding it in to Lefleur. Here's Lefleur dropping it back, but Golikov clears it to center ice. Less than a minute to play in the period. 50 seconds left as Schutt tries to move in. Golikov checks in. Here's Vladimir Golikov, number 25. For Makarov, and it was cleared away, and Dion for the NHL passes over on right wing. Trying to move around the defense was Bossi. Bossi gets it again, dropping it back. Comes to Robinson, who flipped it in front and now cleared to center by the Soviet Union. where Gillies knocking down Alexander Golikoff. Here come the NHL. Bossi, quick wrist shot just wide of the net. Now Trottier dropping it back. Comes to center ice. Robinson squaring it over for Bossi. In across to Trottier. To Gillies to Trottier. Broken up in front of the net by the Soviets. By Segenkov. And it's cleared into the NHL, into the rink as the period comes to an end to the roars of the crowd here at Madison Square Garden.
Well, there you see the shots on goal as the teams leave the ice. The NHL All-Stars outshooting the Soviet national team by a margin of 9-5 and outscoring them 3-1, getting two very quick goals to start the game on the right skate for Team NHL. And so the score at the end of the first period, the NHL 3, the Soviets 1. This is game number 1 for the Challenge Cup.
Over the years, the common cold hasn't gotten any more complicated. But choosing a cold remedy definitely has. That's why it's time for some common sense about the common cold. Remember that aspirin will reduce your fever and soothe your aches and pains with just one simple proven ingredient. Got a cold? Rest. Drink liquids and take aspirin. Aspirin is relief you can trust.
Times Square in New York City. There's a lot happening there, and there's a whole lot happening here at Madison Square Garden, where after one period of play, the NHL leads the Soviet All-Stars by a score of 3-1. Guy Lefleur opened the scoring at the 16-second mark. Then on a power play, Mike Bossi made it 2-0 for the NHL. Then the momentum seemed to slip away from the National Hockey League, and Boris Mikhailov on a Soviet power play cut the gap to 1. But a very important goal was scored by Bob Gainie, restoring that 2-goal lead for the NHL as they go to the dressing room in the first intermission. And with me is the captain of Team NHL, Bobby Clark. Dick Irvin said an interesting thing after the Lefleur goal. The fans picked the players to start the game, and you fellas picked a way to repay them.
Well, the original plan, Dave, was to win the opening face-off and go from there, and I lost the draw, but Shutt forced the play, forced two guys to take him, and as soon as that happened, the puck bounced free, and it was 2-on-1. It wasn't really a difficult play at that stage.
Bobby, did you get the feeling that this was 1972 all over again in Game 1 when the quick 2-goal lead came, and then something started to happen, and the Soviets came on? They got the 1 goal, but you didn't let them get the second one.
Well, in 72, we'd been led to believe that they were not a very good hockey club, and we did start real fast, and I think that maybe we got a little overconfident, and I don't think we were prepared mentally or physically to play them at that time, and they just blew us out. Obviously, you know that, but here everybody knows what we're up against, and everybody's prepared to play for 60 minutes.
What preparations did you consider the most important, or should I put it this way, what preparations did Scotty Bowman try to get you to consider top priority?
Well, I think the top priority for the forwards is to take away the center of the ice. They seem to try and make all their plays up the middle of the ice, and their wingers go back and swing, and their centermen go back and swing, but all their plays seem to come up the middle or go through the middle of the ice. They don't make the real short passes that often, so his first idea was to take away the center of the ice from them, and he thinks that's the most important part of their game.
We've been led to believe that they've changed their game considerably since you last saw them, since you last played them. Do you notice anything different than the way they're playing you?
I think they're a little more willing to fight for the puck. When we used to get the puck off them, they'd wait until we made a bad pass or threw the puck in the corner before they'd go get it, but now they're willing in all zones to bump for the puck and to try and take it off you, and I think that's the biggest adjustment they've made.
Are you prepared to play with any wingers, because it seems that Scotty Bowman is interchanging them almost all the time?
Yeah, I think that the players here are all talented enough and smart enough to make the adjustment to whoever they're playing with, and we know he's going to have to do this depending on how the game is going and stuff, who he wants out there, so we're all prepared to play with anybody.
Only 3 days to get ready for this game. The team has never been together before, but yet I sense that you wouldn't have wanted another day. You were ready to play tonight.
Yeah, everybody was ready to play. At this stage of the season, everybody's in good condition, and that, I think, is the most important factor. We know we're going to have to work for 60 minutes, so if you're in good condition, you'll be able to do that. And obviously, with this talent, we should be a great hockey club.
Geinie made a great shot to beat Tretiak, and I talked about the importance of the goal. Is there anything you know about him that you will try to exploit?
Well, we've seen the guys have been talking, and they feel that Tretiak can be beaten from outside the circles because their defense normally don't force you to the boards, and in their big ice surface that they play over there, they don't take so many shots from a long ways out like we do in our game. And our guys feel that if we can get a couple good guys like Gillies and Lefleur and who shoot from a little ways out, on the top of the circles and stuff, we can beat them.
Well, Bobby, you've had 3 from right in close by Lefleur, Bossi, and by Bob Geiney. Congratulations on a good first period and good luck the rest of this game and the series.
Thank you.
Bobby Clarke, captain of the NHL All-Stars. In just a moment, we'll look at Sergei Kapustin of the Soviet Union on film. Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
Buick continues turbocharging North America with the world's biggest choice of turbocharged cars. The 1979 Turbo Buicks. 4 cars, all powered by the remarkable turbocharged V6. To drive one is to want one. The Turbo Buicks. The Riviera S-Type. The Sabre Sport Coupe. Regal Sport Coupe. And the Century Coupe and Sedan. When it comes to turbocharging, nobody else even comes close.
For a close, convenient shave, the Fellowshave Rechargeable or the Blade. The choice is painfully obvious. The Fellowshave Rechargeable by Phillips. The next time you get into a car, protect yourself, too. Wear your seatbelt.
Here in New York City, after one period in Game 1 for the Challenge Cup, Team NHL leads the Soviet national team by a score of 3-1. In both hockey worlds, ours and theirs, the young hockey players come along. We've learned to respect many of the veteran Soviet players, but Sergei Kapustin represents a new breed, and a close look at him now.
Смотрите игру между сборами СССР и НХЛ в следующую субботу по этому каналу.
Well, we had some problems there with the Kapustin interview, but the whole theory is really what Scotty Bowman said. As you listen to his voice during the course of that first period, he said they know what the Soviets are like, they know what they can do, but he says there are the new players that come along every year at these major international confrontations, and they're the ones that cause a little bit of questioning in the minds of the coaches and the players from the teams from our side. Here, from a Team NHL standpoint, you have players like Brian Trottier, Mike Bossi, Barry Beck, all youngsters getting their first taste of this kind of competition. So, it's interesting for the veterans and for the youngsters. And again, we show you Sergei Kapustin.
Смотрите игру между сборами СССР и НХЛ в следующую субботу по этому каналу.
And until we get sorted out, we'll take a break. This is the Challenge Cup coming to you live from New York.
Things go better when you and Coke get together.
Things like the Charlottetown Festival.
Searching for Gastron. Dr. Stampede. Things go better when you and Coke get together. Coke and life. Coca-Cola and
Thinking about going somewhere? Then come with us. We're Via Rail Canada, and we're going places. At Via, there's a choice of tours and a choice of ways to go. From a low-cost one-day outing to a complete holiday package, escorted or unescorted. This year, take a good look at Canada close up. Come, experience Canada with Via. Be good to yourself. Take the train.
My flashlight's almost always in use, so I use Duracell batteries.
Mine sits in a drawer for months till I need it. That's why I use Duracell. Duracell batteries stay fresh a long time.
We tested 2-year-old Duracell batteries against brand new regular carbon batteries, and in continuous use, 2-year-old Duracell batteries still lasted up to 5 times longer. Duracell. The copper top battery.
They last longer when you use them?
And even when you don't.
Boris Mikhailov, seen here giving his son a puck control lesson, is the captain and heart of the Soviet national team. But this player, number 8, Sergei Kapustin, is now acclaimed as the Soviet star most likely to make things happen out on the ice. Kapustin started playing hockey when he was 12 at a children's sports school in Ukhta, northeast of Moscow in a rather cold part of Russia. He played first division hockey from 1968 to 70, then was invited to join Moscow's Wings of the Soviet in the Major League. Kapustin played 6 seasons for Wings before he was transferred to Central Red Army, where he could play regularly with his line mates from the national team, Viktor Zhlukov and Helmut Balderus. Earlier, when he was with the Wings, a severe shoulder injury threatened to end his career. In fact, his shoulder was re-injured 8 times, finally necessitating complex surgery. But now he's fine, as anybody who plays against him will tell you. The Kapustins, Sergei, his wife Tatiana, and their 2-year-old son live in an apartment just off Leningrad Avenue, one of Moscow's major traffic arteries, and a short drive from the Central Red Army Sports Complex where Sergei trains every day with his regular club team. Kapustin has been with the Soviet national team now since 1974 and played against the future NHL stars in the recent Izvestia tournament in Moscow, which the Soviets won, defeating Czechoslovakia in the final. And Tatiana brings home Sergei's winner's medal to go along with all the others he's received in World, Olympic, and European championships.
Сереж, ты что там делаешь?
When our cameras visited, they were in the midst of decorating. Tatiana, besides being a wife and mother, is a geologist. Sergei, while playing hockey, is continuing his education and is in the 4th year at the Moscow Institute of Physical Culture. Kapustin in Russian literally translates as cabbage. I'm not sure if that is what Tatiana is feeding Sergei here or not, but whatever his diet, Sergei Kapustin is a rather electrifying hockey player, generally rated as the fastest skater on the Soviet team. He and his line mates, Balderus and Zhlukov, know where the goal is, and together they form the number 1 attacking trio in Soviet hockey today.
Someone wondered if the Soviet players ever play out their options. Well, if so, fellows like Kapustin would be the object of attention from NHL general managers. Now let's go downstairs to our studio. Howie Meeker there with Dave Hodge.
All right, there's one player whose selection to the NHL All-Star team raised some eyebrows. It was Gilbert Perreault of the Buffalo Sabres. And Scotty Bowman made no bones about it. He said, my neck is out for this player. We got to have him. He made a great play on the Bossi goal.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You know, we have 2 very different systems. The most important thing in the game of hockey is what you do when you haven't got the puck. On defense, you have to have discipline. No discipline, man, you're in trouble. On offense, you don't need too much discipline. Here we want to show you something. Watch this just unbelievable move by Perreault. He picks it up here behind his net. Now watch the Soviet back checker on the top of the screen. No way in the world he should cut into center. On top of the screen, watch him, and then after he cuts into center, look at here. Now that leaves Bossi open. Now watch the Soviet defenseman play the puck. Now after he plays the puck, he has to start the stick check. And gosh, you just can't stick check a Gilbert Perreault under a full head of steam. Perreault flicks him, throws it across to Bossi, and bingo, just a beautiful rush and a beautiful goal. But discipline is most important when you haven't got the puck.
There was early commitment by Tretiak, which hasn't been customary for him. He was out of position for a pass, and he had to realize that was a possibility for Perreault.
Lefleur's goal, the very same. He made the first move on Lefleur, and on Geiny's goal, he's down. He has been in international competition one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world. At home, in the Soviet, I've heard so many people say, hey, he just doesn't live up to his international reputation. Maybe we caught him on the mouth tonight. But I'll tell you, I'd hate to be shooting against that team NHL tonight that gets some superstars.
The Soviet Union scored on a power play by Boris Mikhailov, and we've seen that time and again. You can't give them the man in net.
Watch in front of the net. Again, the Soviets do something different. It's very strange that they have a man in front of the net, and as the shot comes from the point, you'll see Selming had the man, backed off too far, possibly so Dryden could make the save, and then couldn't recover in time from a high lofted. I think he gulped it, hit the puck before it hit the ice. But certainly Selming was right there with him. All he had to do was stick tight to him, and I don't think he'd ever got the shot away.
It's 3-1 for the National Hockey League over the Soviet Union from New York's Madison Square Garden. This is the series of the century, the Challenge Cup.
Ever get the urge to just let your imagination run wild? Open up your life with a GMC truck. Get out there and really do it. Like a GMC van that you can make into your own private world. A pickup maybe, or for riding the high country, a Jimmy with four-wheel drive. And if pulling power is what you're after, try hitching up to a GMC Suburban. GMC. Trucking's what we're all about.
More than a 1 in 3 chance you will win something. More than 1 in 3 you'll make good. Better than 1 in 3 you'll grin. Better than 1 in 3 you'll win that Lotto Canada game. It sure looks good.
$1 million prizes, thousands of other cash prizes, bonus tickets, and instant checks. Now your Lotto Canada pouch has better than a 1 in 3 chance to win something.
That Lotto Canada game, it sure looks good.
The Russians are here with all their great stars against the best of the NHL. Game 2 from Madison Square Garden will be on CBC at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Don't miss the pivotal game in the series of the century. Bobby Orr, 3-1 lead for the NHL. What caught your eye as an analyst in the first 20 minutes?
Well, the NHL Stars had a plan, Dan. That was to force the play. Even when they were shorthanded, they were forcing the play. They did that. They shut the middle off. They didn't let the Soviets get any of the breakaway passes up the middle. I just thought they played a very, 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 very strong period. They're taking the body, which they have to. I don't think they're trying to run them out of the rink, although there was one charging penalty. They're taking the body, and I think that's very important.
That's Bobby Orr, a man of which he knows and speaks very well of the game of hockey. Bobby Orr, the great former star with the Bruins, and then the Chicago Blackhawks.
Soviets are back on the ice. Team NHL just making an appearance at the far side. In the first period, 3 goals for Team NHL. Lefleur from Clark and shot at 16 seconds in the first shot of the series. Mike Bossi on a power play at 6:42 from Perreault and Lefleur. And then it was 2-1 on a Soviet power play at 11:25. Mikhailov scoring. And finally, Bob Geiney from Barber and Beck at 15:48. And it's 3-1. The shots on goal that you see now differ from what they have shown on the board here. They have it 9-5. They make it 10-6. Well, whatever. The NHL outshot them by a margin of 4. And there is Bobby Clark, who I think came into his own as a hockey player in that 72 series. Steve Shutt, an all-star left winger in the NHL. The last few weeks playing some great hockey. Guy Lefleur, who started things with that goal at the 16-second mark, and goaltender Ken Dryden. Some controversy surrounding Kenny whenever he plays against the Soviet Union. He was beaten for 1 goal, facing 5, or if you will, 6 shots, whatever stats you want to believe. Oh, they've changed it in the building, so it is 10-6. And Ken Dryden's in the net. And we have our friend Dave Liardi here from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. And they tell me that he was up all night. Didn't have school apparently yesterday because of the snowstorm in this area. So the sign man got a chance to get in some extra work down in Philly, and he's here tonight. And he is at work. Some of the rule changes. Bobby mentioned the fact that the goaltenders can freeze the puck without fear of being penalized. And the Soviets also requested and received permission to use whatever bend curvature of the stick that they wanted. And these concessions were made to them. In return, they allowed Team NHL to name a 26-team roster rather than 25. And that's how Guy Lapointe of Montreal is now on the roster. He will be joining the team for a workout tomorrow. Lapointe has been ill with a very severe case of the flu. Okay, start of the second period. Here's Dan Kelly.
The NHL 3 and the Soviet Union 1. Puck flared immediately into the NHL end of the rink. Try and work at the Sittler on left wing, too far ahead for him. And number 12, Starikov for Harlamov off his stick and into the NHL zone. Robinson, number 19, back together. Here's Robinson on left wing. Robinson lugs it all the way in. Backhands one. Krediak cleared it away. Now Robinson takes Sittler's pass. Couldn't get a shot away. Robinson has it again. Larry Robinson behind the net for Perot. That's Fedorov tying up Perot. Now puck still loose behind the goal. Petrov cleared it. And here's Harlamov, number 17, speeding in on left wing. Harlamov stops to make a play. Then checked from behind by Lanny McDonald with a good defensive play. Puck back to the NHL goal. Robinson on right wing for McDonald. Now McDonald to center ice to Boreas Spalding. He was pulled down. Spalding has to circle back. He's number 26. Across the line. Into the corner with Petrov. Spalding still battling with Petrov. Now, the Soviets do clear at the center. Here's Mikhailov to Harlamov. A 2-on-1 break. Harlamov to Mikhailov to Harlamov. A shot and drive. He slides across and highway robbery on Harlamov. Boy, the NHL got caught with a defenseman up the ice. Steve Shutt was back, and he was mesmerized. And Kenny Dryden comes up with his first real big stop of the hockey game.
Something we better not start doing, Dick, is playing the puck, because they're so good with the puck. Stevie Shutt tried to stick check, I think it was Harlamov at center ice, and they ended up with a 2-on-1, and Kenny made a great save.
Well, the coach is agitated.
Scott, he's upset, and he should be.
William Scott Bowman looks like he's up for the occasion, doesn't he, Dick? Face-off in the NHL end. A quick shot wide of the goal by Balderas winds up on the mesh.
I think it's something we've got to do right now. We've got to start forcing them right now. Get right after them, or they're going to take the momentum away from us. They're coming on. They came on about the 10-minute mark of that second period, and Gainy's goal kind of cooled them off. But they've started off very fast this second period.
Here's Clark winning a face-off. Soviets take over. Lukov giving it to Kapustin. In across the line, got away from a check. Clark was there to break it up. And Savard passes to Barber. Bill Barber got it into the center ice area. Now Kapustin dropping it back into the Soviet zone. They work it over to Fedorov. He shot at the center ice. Kapustin got it to the line but couldn't bring it in, and back comes Barber. He played it off the boards into the Soviet end of the ring. Vasiliev into the corner, checked by Geinie. Now Fedorov feeds it to Balderas, racing after it but Beck. And Beck and Balderas go to the corner. Savard is there to back the play up, and they force a face-off in the NHL zone.
This is the Challenge Cup, the series of the century.
The Challenge Cup from Madison Square Garden in New York. The NHL on goals by Lefleur, Bossi, and Geinie, leading the Soviet Union 3-1. Mikhailov has scored their only goal. Boreas Spalding back to his own goal, trying to clear it out. Velyaletdinov held it in. A shot high off the glass by the Soviets. Now Golikov flipped it into the corner. Spalding is there for Lefleur. Got it to the line for Buchan, holding it in. He's stuck. Now Golikov holding in. Shoots straight and just got his glove on it. And Lefleur takes over. Lefleur checked at center. Out in front. Golikov shoots. Makarov took the pass and Biden stopped him. As Makarov, number 24, has it again. He's out with the Golikov brothers. Across the line, Spalding clearing it away. And Lefleur to Dion. Lead pass to Shutt. Velyaletdinov is back to cover up, and Pervukin, number 5, takes over. Pervukin in his own zone, trying to clear it. Lefleur holding it in. Centered pass was in behind. Now Shutt hit the side of the net. Lefleur gets it again to Steve Shutt. Shutt pinned against the boards by Golikov. And now the Soviets clear it down the ice, and are going to be called for icing on the play.
Pretty good pressure right there, Bobby Orr, on the part of the Soviets. They are so strong, they kept knocking Team NHL off the puck. I thought that one save that Dryden made, the way he reacted from here, because it might have hit him in the mat.
Well, one hits the post. I don't know if this is the one that hits the post.
Hit him up
high, yes. The shot before that hit the post, but they had Golikov and Makarov had two great scoring chances. Yes, it hit him up high.
Face-off in the Soviet zone. Here's Beck shooting from the point, and it's picked out by Krejcik. Comes to center, Savard for the NHL, trying to work it back in, centered it. Soviets dump it right into the center ice area. Beck over on the wing. K.Gillis stand on it, and now here comes Varnikov, number 10. Moving in, dropping it back. A shot, or Skorkov was dropped down on the Now in possession, Coben, number 9. It's back to the point. The Gamecock is decked on the play by K.Gillis. Holding on to this Sportsock. He's tied up. NHL trying to clear it out of there. Soviets get it, a shot, and blocked at the defense by Savar. And then cleared to center ice by the NHL. Here's Starikoff moving in on right wing. Standard it, Dryden the save, and at the side of the net, Coben couldn't poke it in. Now, here's Bossi to center ice. Over on left wing to Gillies. Gillies upended on the play by Starikoff, and the Soviets start back. Feed it to center ice. Petrov dropping it back to Gankov and across the line for Barnikov offside at the NHL blue line.
And the coach is still agitated. He always is, though, Dan, it would seem. Pretty good skating right here. And K.Gillis is laying on the body. Serge Savard, I believe I'm right here. Well, he's played in 7 Stanley Cup teams in Montreal. Has never played in a losing series against Soviet competition. I don't think he's ever played in a losing game in some individual, in games by themselves. He was with the Team Canada aggregations in both 1972 and 1976.
He's one of that big three from Montreal. Robinson is here. LaPointe should be in action in game 2. Here's Vasiliev for the Soviets. To Harlamov, number 17, checked by Lanny McDonald and Sittler. Passes it in for Perreault. Here's Perreault doing some stick handling. Fedorov checked him at center. McDonald couldn't get it. Robinson held it in, however, and the puck flips up over the glass, and the faceoff will be in the Soviet zone.
Bobby Darryl Sittler, normally a center man, playing on the wing.
With Darrell's ability, Dick, I think he could play anywhere. He's played very, very well on left wing, and I don't think he's played there that much, but he's doing a heck of a job on left wing.
Perreault is the center, Sittler on left wing, McDonald on right wing. Soviets dump it in. Solming back to get it over to Darryl Sittler, trying to clear it. Petrov held it in to Harlamov. Back to Petrov, shoots, and Dryden kicked out the right pass. Back is McDonald, number 8. Lanny McDonald flipping it to Sittler, and it hops over his stick. Now behind the goal, the Soviets try and shoot it. Solming holding it in. Shoots, and Trichak makes the save, and I don't think he ever saw the shot. Third to center, and then up over the boards of the NHL bench.
Yeah, and I think he was hurt too, Dan. Trichak seems to be a bit shaken up. Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup. This is Dick Irvin in the broadcast booth at Madison Square Garden, along with Bobby Orr, Dan Kelly, Danny Gallivan, Dave Hodge, and Howie Meeker, and we hope you're enjoying this game 1 as much as we are.
3-1 for the NHL. Geinie working it in on right wing to Barber, now to Geinie. Geinie being tied up by Velyaletnov. Now Balderas, number 19, across the line. Leaves it for Glukov, but the play is offside at the NHL blue line, and that's where the faceoff will be.
Bobby, there were 30 faceoffs in the first period. The NHL won 20. 9 of 10 in their own end of the rink.
Well, that's the key. Control of the puck is the key, and if you get those faceoffs, you've got control of the puck.
Bobby Clark just wins another one. Savard gives it to Clark, who flips it in. Now along the boards, Clark coming up with the puck to Geinie. Geinie moving in, shot one, didn't get good one on the shot, and Trechak slid across, made the save, and held on.
Bobby hesitated a little bit there, Dick. He went to shoot, he tried to hold it, and it rolled off his stick. But Clark made a heck of a play to him.
I tell you, this defensive line, if you will, you think of them as a defensive line, Geinie, Clark, and Barber, but they've had some good scoring chances, and Geinie has the third goal in this hockey game.
I think Bob Geinie was a little surprised he had some skating room there.
Geinie ready for the face-off as Clark battles Glukov for the draw to the left of the Soviet goal. The Soviets come up with it this time, and Kapustin, number 8, trying to get away from Clark. Geinie knocked it off the stick, and the Soviets have to regroup. Velyaletnov, number 14, flipping it up the middle. Knocked away in Geinie. Backhands one into the Soviet zone. Back is number 5 for Vukin. He almost lost it. Barber couldn't catch up on it, and now Kapustin, number 8, trying to work around Savard. Kapustin tied up by Savard. And Savard kicks the puck free on the board. The NHL couldn't get it out. Velyaletnov held it in. Dryden now feeds it out on right wing for Barber. Here's Barber. Pass to Geinie was behind him. Geinie, number 23, firing it into the Soviet zone. Pervukin is back after it. Pervukin out at center ice for Kapustin. He gives it to Balderas, shoots it into the NHL zone. And Robinson for the NHL to Lefleur on right wing. Can't catch up with the pass. Here's Dion trying his luck. He feeds it. Velyaletnov knocks it down. Here's Velyaletnov, number 14, dropping it back. Comes to the corner. Robinson is there against Golikov. Now passes it out on the wing. And Shutt feeds Lefleur. Lefleur to Dion. Dion across the line. And Golikov back checking. Takes Dion out of the play at center to Robinson. A drive! That's Petchak. Picked it up. And back comes Makarov, number 24. Works into the corner, runs into a dead end there against Boria Solomon. Robinson trying to clear it. Now Golikov is checked. Robinson feeds it up for Steve Shutt to Lefleur, who had the pass, didn't know he had it, and has to circle back. Guy Lefleur, number 10, doing some fancy stick handling. Into Dion, back to Lefleur. Lefleur, a backhander, and he hit the side of the net. Zagenkov, number 7, tried to clear it. It comes to center. Hustling after it was Alexander Golikov, but Solomon beats him to it. Solomon on the right wing boards. Out to Lefleur. Feeds ahead. And across the line is Clark-Gillies. Gillies back to the net. Playing very aggressively. Tied up by Zagenkov. NHL trying center at Gillies. A backhander. He scores!
Watch the play. Gillies starts it by being strong on the boards. Or watch the play Bossi makes it.
Ah, super.
What a great play.
And the backhand gets it.
I guess that's why he's so high in the scoring too, Dick.
I tell you, he knows.
Oh, just a great play.
See, this is one of the reasons Bobby Scotty Bowman will keep the combinations together as best he can. Bossi, Gillies, Trache, they know where each other is so often because they play together all the time. 4-1 NHL.
Here's Trache to Bossi now on right wing. Mike Bossi racing in. Tied up by Fedorov. Now Bossi checked on the play. Coming up with it is Trache. Dropping it back. Here is Barry Beck. Shoots from the point, and Petchak just got his arm on it. Centered again, and Bossi's shot deflects to the corner. Here's Trache and Vasiliev battling for it on the board. Around onto the other wing. Fedorov, number 2, feeding it up the middle, and the NHL takes over at center ice. Beck giving it to Savard. 4-1 to the NHL All-Stars. Out at center ice. Dumped in for Trache. He was going to the bench in a line change, so Vasiliev, number 6 for the Soviets. Passing it up to Varnikov, who's hemmed in against the boards by Lanny McDonald. This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York. It's a great pleasure for me now to turn over this broadcast to a good friend, a former partner, one of the great hockey announcers of all time from Hockey Night in Canada, Danny Gallivan.
Thank you very much, Dan. Quite a hockey game going here at Madison Square Garden. 10 minutes and 47 seconds left. In this, the second period, 4-1 for the NHL. Puck is in the Soviet zone, coming out on the left side for Guk, and he gets it out over the line. And Lanny McDonald cleared it in there on the outside.
Danny, I take it you've been impressed so far with the entertainment you've seen.
Well, going back the years to 72, they always had great, exciting hockey between the Soviet, North American teams of the National Hockey League. And this would augur well for the rest of this series. Now Salming at his own line. He's on the blue line with Robinson. Ahead it goes on the left side. It's flipped into the corner by Sittler, and Verbuchen is in there. Clearing it ahead. He was upended. Now Lanny McDonald is on the move in the corner. Vilja Laufendead tried to get it. Now it's centered in front of the net. Here's Lanny McDonald taking his shot. And Tretiak covered on the short side. Now on the left wing, the Soviets are going to get out over the line. Verbuchen to Mikhailov. He's trying to get away from Salming. He's tied up. They jam in on the board, covering up the NHL, and they get a whistle and a face-off in deep NHL territory, and a happy Alan Eagleson.
Well, so far,
Nice to see Al smiling.
Come on, Bobby, now you keep a smile once in a while. NHL President John Ziegler indirectly behind, and smiles are broad in the NHL official area.
I think the last 5 minutes after the Gillies goal, the team's been forechecking unbelievably, and there appears that the Soviets can be forechecked. And if we check them, I think we're going to come up with a lot of scoring opportunities.
Bobby, shots on goal in the second period so far, 7-2 in favor of Team NHL.
Face-off in NHL territory. Schluchtop, number 22, is at center. Kapustin on the left side. Balder is the other winger for the Soviets. Zarikov is on defense with the Gankov. Now Barber into the center ice area. He tried to hit Geinie in full flight. And there's a penalty coming up. Into the corner. Working doggedly is Clark. Back it goes to Savard. Dryden is under the net. There's a screen shot, another shot. And it hits Tretiak. Here's Dion. It goes to Geinie into the corner to Savard. He's centering it through the crease. Here's Dion. Getting it to Savard. A shot. And a cannonading shot over the top of the net. And finally the penalty is called.
You are watching the series of the century live from Madison Square Garden. The penalty to Gennady Tsagenkov, number 7 of the Soviets. Bobby?
Holding here on Bob Geinie into the corner. Talking about Bob Geinie, he's been injured. He had a pulled hamstring. He wasn't supposed to play in the series, or they weren't sure he was going to play in the series. Up to this point, he's been one of the stars, Dick. He's a fantastic athlete.
So on the power play, we have Nilsson of the New York Rangers at center. His line mate Hedberg is a forward, along with Lefleur. Ballming is on. So it is 4-1 for the NHL over the Soviets. We have the Golikov penalty killing. Vukin is a defenseman. Vilya Lednov, number 14, is another defenseman. Good forechecking by the Soviets. NHL trying to get this attack organized. Now Hedberg hands it off to his man, Salming into the center ice area to Lefleur. And he's broken up at the line by Vilya Lednov. Now here's Hedberg. Tossing it off, coming in on the right side, but not penetrating too deeply was Nilsson. An excellent penalty-killing job so far by the Soviets. Here's Hedberg, and he couldn't penetrate. Now they try it again with Salming from the center ice area. Buzzing around are Soviets. It's in over the line, and Vilya Lednov, that sounds like a hockey team in itself, he cleared it down the ice. Now Robinson gets it up to Lefleur. Into the center ice area. Trostier sliding in as Gillies. Gillies dropping it back. Here's Robinson firing it back in there. And the Canadians have had not a good shot in this power play.
It appears that the Soviets feel the same way as the NHL stars do, Dick, and that is they've got a forecheck, forced to play even when they're killing penalties, and they were doing a heck of a job on that one.
For the Golikov brothers, one's 24, the other's 26, and they have done a super job killing penalties here tonight.
And they were in deep. They're both right in behind the net.
The Islanders line out there right now. Trottier center ice, Bossi and Gillies in the wings.
We might see a little forechecking here.
So face-off in Soviet territory. Back to Savard. He takes a look, gives it to Gillies, the big right winger. Comes off the boards. Into the corner. Bossi is trying to dig it out, but they get a whistle for a face-off in deep Soviet territory with 7 minutes and 36 seconds left as we look at Clark Gillies.
He's one of the stronger players in the league, and he's in the corner with Fedorov, and he couldn't get away from him. So the Soviet players are very strong also.
Now here's Gillies. Getting it into Trottier, back to Savard. He gets it along the ice. Luptov coming out with Kapustin, who takes the pass in over the NHL line. Into the corner. Vasiliev back to Fedorov. He fired it into the corner. Here's Savard. Getting it to Trottier with Gillies and Bossi. They're in over the line after firing it to the corner. And the penalty has expired. Bossi is trying to center it. Behind the net to Trottier. He's a dandy. He zigs and zags, trying to get clear. Vasiliev in the corner for the Soviets. Takes a look. And he fires it to the line. Zagankov leaving it there. In over the line. Fedorov, he took a shot off the arm of Dryden behind the net. They try to center it. Soviets making changes. Lukov is in the corner. He takes a look back near the line. There's a shot right off. And that was Dvorak taking that shot. Point blank range. He had just come off the bench. And Dryden came up with a big save. Fedorov ahead to Kapustin. And there's an offside against the Soviets.
This is live coverage of game number 1 for the Challenge Cup. The Team NHL supporters in this large crowd, Harold Ballard, owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And this very pesky line, a diminutive line for the Soviets. Kovin number 9, Varnikov 10, Dvorak, who had that excellent scoring opportunity, number 11. There's Kovin going in, and he rattled that one off Soloming's leg. Soloming around the net. This line is forechecking. Here's Dion, a long left wing pass is shut off the boards. He couldn't pick it up. Ilya Ledendorf is on defense now for the Soviets. He's number 14. Here's Lefleur into the corner, jostling, trying to get possession. Schutt comes up with it. Couldn't pass it back. Here's Kovin lugging it out to the other side to Varnikov at the line. He's being watched by Robinson. Dion losing it. Recovered by Soloming. Ahead to Lefleur. Rink-wide pass off the board. Here's Schutt going in a goal! And he fired it wide. Schutt utilizing that great speed to pick up that rink-wide pass off the board. The Soviets are back. There's a weak shot. Dvorak couldn't get it through there, and finally it's over the board.
Well, one of the most famous of the Soviet players, goaltender Tretiak, and over the years he struck up quite a friendship with Bobby Clarke, and before the game he talked about it.
I have played against Bobby Clarke in 1972 and again against him in the Canada Cup in 1976. He and I have become very good friends. It is going to be very difficult for me to play against an old friend.
5 minutes and 18 seconds left in the second period. NHL 4, the Soviets 1. Now the Soviets. Mikhailov going in, and Dryden came out. And he cleared it down to the Soviet line. Verbuchen takes over organizing this Soviet attack. He was bumped by Lanny McDonald. They fight for it in the center ice area. Now along the boards, Lanny McDonald, a long, wide, weak shot. Along the boards. Vasiliev left it for Petrov. He cleared it to the other side on the left side. Verbuchen's pass. That misses Harlamov. It's down the ice, and it's going to be icing against the Soviets.
Well, there's Barry Beck, and let's in a little secret, Bobby. Scotty Bowman on a flight home from Washington last Sunday night, I was with the Canadians, said to me, who do you think could be the surprise of the series? Naturally, he never answers Scotty because he's always got a surprise for you in return. He said Barry Beck. Great confidence in him. Very impressed with him the last time Colorado played against Montreal. And a lot of pressure on Beck, Bobby, with only 4 defensemen in the lineup tonight.
Well, he's played very well for the first period and a half, and he's been super. Yeah, tough spot for him, but he's doing well.
Harlamov breaking out quickly. Fades over to the right side. He chases it. He's watched by Beck. And that is an offside, and now you gentlemen can continue on that conversation.
One thing, as we look at when Soviet hockey was born, you talk about different styles, Bobby. The coach of the Soviet stands in front of the players. Our coaches all stand behind.
Well, their broadcasters also stand down at the ice.
That's right, they do.
It appears it would be very difficult.
Well, I tell you, the distance we're working from tonight, I'll put before the broadcast finally. Face off outside. NHL blue line. We have Bossi on the right side, number 25. Drotty at center, Big Gillies on the left side. The Golikovs are on there with Makarov. Alexander Golikov and Vladimir, his brother. Now it's Bossi and over the line. Watch Crossier. He's getting it front, and he tipped it on. Tretiak came up with an amazing save. That was at the lip of the crease, and that was great action.
And the New York line gets a nice New York hand. The Challenge Cup is coming to you live from New York.
The big news for 79 is from Chevrolet. The new Chevy Monza 2+2 hatchback. More standard Monza features than ever add up to more car, more kicks. Standard equipment includes tinted glass, AM radio, shift console, sports steering wheel, white striped tires, body side moldings, bucket seats, carpeting, hatch hatchback, and more. All standard for only $4,571. When you want to put your car dollars to work for you, put your money on Monza from Chevrolet.
Time remaining in the second period, 4 minutes and 5 seconds. That's the back of Savard you're looking at on your television screen. Robinson ripped his shot waist high, and Petchiak covers up. NHL now with a total of 19 shots as against 10 for the USSR. We have Salming and Robinson on the point. Gillies dumped his man over on the far side. Billy Ledinoff cleared it around the net. Bossi in turn is bumped. That was Makarov. Now into the corner. Fedorov lugs it into the center ice area. He misses with that weak wing pass and is gobbled up by Robinson. In it goes to Bossi. He's upended by Fedorov. Puck is out over the line. Robinson in for Trottier. He delicately dumped it into the corner. Fedorov is bumped solidly by Gilly. And the NHL tossing bodies around now. Puck is out over the line. Into the center ice area. Salming. He knifed it in there. 4-1. NHL leading the Soviets. Jostling in on the board. Clark and Fedorov. And they get a whistle for a face-off.
Well, there's Aggie Kuklewicz, the former junior hockey star in Canada, played briefly with the Rangers in the old Madison Square Garden here in New York, and there wouldn't be a series without Aggie. I don't think. He's the interpreter. He wet nurses the Soviets when they arrive. He's with them till they leave, and he does just a super job, and he is a tremendous help to those of us in the broadcast business as we try to get lined up for these international confrontations.
3:12 left in the second period. Kapustin cleared it on it for the NHL. Geinie. Back to Savard, took a look at the clock. He gets it to Beck. Beck pass goes to Clark over the line with Barber. A weak shot is wide. Gaining around the net, trying to center it. It's on the left side, and the Soviets get it out over the line. Savard to Barber. Over it goes to Gainie right in front, and it hops over Clark's stick. Good work by this line. Gainie, Barber, and Clark. Now Gainie missed his check, went into the board heavily on the far side. There's a pass for Barber. He couldn't negotiate contact. It's down the ice, and it is icing against the NHL.
So Barber disputing the call. Wayne, he touched the puck first. Bobby, the game has come and gone as far as the Soviets are concerned by that. I mean, you pointed out how they started to take things away from the NHL in the latter stages of the first period as the second period began. They've only 4 shots on goal in this second period, Bob.
But they had 4 good ones. I was thinking just a couple of seconds ago that Dryden's only had 10 shots. But the 4 shots he's had this period, he's had to make great saves. So Kenny came up big when the Soviets were coming on, and that's what you need to have a winning team. And if we can get the good goaltending, although we don't get many shots, it's a tough thing. It's tough to play when you get so few shots. But Kenny came up with 4 big saves for us there.
Face off to the left of Dryden. The Soviets, everybody up. They have moved their far point defenseman up to the rim of the circle. Dvorakov goes in, couldn't get it away from Robinson. Varnikov stopped him partially, recovered by McDonald. The Salming to the left side, and it's into the center ice area. Kovin over on the far side to Pervukin. A long pass to the NHL line. Lanny McDonald takes a look. There's a neat pass to center. Salming over the line, comes back out, but not in time. The offside infraction occurs.
All right, let's take a break from the broadcast booth and join Dave Hodge in our studio.
We want you to be with us in the second intermission. I'll be talking with Boston Bruins injured defenseman Brad Park. We'll have a film look at the history of New York's Madison Square Garden, and we'll take a look at Howie Meeker's highlights.
Here's Salming stepping in on that right side. Pervukin jams him in on the board. They look for a possession. The Soviets do. Finally, Sittler got it, cleared it to the other side. It's right out in front, and McDonald was checked before he could get his shot away. Dvorakov coming up. This time pass on the left side. And the NHL clearing it back into Soviet territory to the far side with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in this, the second period. And as the game goes on, and with the NHL having a lead, the tenacity of the forechecking will increase, much to the frustration of the Soviets, no doubt. You can see that pattern forming now. Verzukin into the center ice area. And there's Lefleur doing the checking. Now Petrov is forced back against Dion and Lefleur. Mikhailov. His pass into the center ice area. Petrov is over the line. He lost it. Lefleur is checked by Mikhailov. Now Robinson clear to the center. They bang away at it. Not much skating room for anybody. Petrov over the line. His pass hit a leg back into the center ice area. Long lead pass on the left side, but Harlamov was going the other way. Barber stopped to Robinson, carry him off the boards. It comes into the slot. Here's Lefleur with 30 seconds left in the second period. He couldn't get anywhere. Now Dion ahead to Barber. Jammed in on the boards by Harlamov. Carrying on is Lefleur, and he couldn't get a clear pass in front. Petrov knocked it into the center ice area. Back over to Savard. He's chased behind the net by Harlamov, who took a swipe at him. They both fall against the boards. And with 7 seconds left in the period, face-off in deep NHL territory.
Bobby Clark mentioned to Dave Hodge that one of the big things of their game plan would be to keep the Soviets from those long passes up the center of the ice, and so far, anyway, they've done a pretty good job.
They've definitely shut the middle off, Dick. Something they're doing now with a 4-1 lead. They've got that third man coming back, and that's so important. The fans watching on TV may not see that on the screen, but it's so important with the lead, and they've got that third man. And, you know, the Soviets haven't had a 3-on-2 in the second half of the period.
So the Soviets with everybody up. A half dozen seconds plus one. I guess that gives you 7. So they're all lined up here. This is a very important face-off for the Soviets. If they could get a goal here, it could turn this game around. Now Dryden. He has it at the side. Here's Savard taking a look, and he shoots it, and that's the end of the second period.
Shots on goal in that period. The NHL with 9 for a 2-period total of 19, and the Soviets 5 for a 2-period total of just 11. And that pretty well tells a good part of the story. As Tretiak and his teammates, along with Team NHL, leave the ice. And so the score at the end of the second period. The National Hockey League All-Stars 4, the Soviet national team 1. This is Game 1 for the Challenge Cup.
From Madison Square Garden in New York, we played 2 periods of the first Challenge Cup game in the NHL as a 4-1 lead over the world amateur champions from the Soviet Union. K.Gillis scored the only goal of the second period. He's the second Islander to score in this game. Mike Bossi, who had one earlier, assisted in the Gillies goal, and there have been 2 Montreal Canadiens to beat: Ladislav Tretiak, Guy Lefleur, and Bob Gainie. With me is Brad Park of the Boston Bruins. A knee injury prevents him from playing in this series, and he surely would have been selected to play for the NHL club. Timing, next week, maybe if the series had been played, you might have been there.
Hopefully, Dave. I've been skating for a week and a half now, and I've sit in the stands. I got itchy feet out there, but I'm enjoying the hockey game like a lot of people out here.
The most talked about aspect of this game prior to it was the fact that Scotty Bowman chose to go with only 4 defensemen, and of course, they would have to play a lot. As a defenseman, would you welcome that opportunity? And it seems to me that these particular 4 thrive on the ice time.
Well, I think you got to remember that the 4 defensemen, they've been playing a lot all year, so condition-wise, they're in great shape. It's kind of a good rotation for 4 guys in good shape, because you're going to go out there, you're going back every shift, so you're really feeling like you're involved in the game. And it's the type of thing that if it was a 7-game series, it might not be advisable. But for 3 games, I think it'll work.
What about the Soviet defense? We asked you before the game to watch them, to pick up any mistakes you thought they might be making, any changes from when you'd seen them in the past, and compare them, if you will, with the 4 NHL defensemen.
Well, the Soviet defense are just what they are. They're defensemen. They don't gamble that much. They play strictly defensive. You won't catch them on a 4-man rush too much. You'll find that they'll move the puck quick, and they handle the puck as well as their forwards, and that's quite a tribute. I mean, these guys have been impressive. The thing overall play, I would say that I've been impressed because nobody's really coughed up the puck. I mean, in their own end, if they couldn't find an open guy or move it to some place where it's not dangerous, they're taking the checks, and they're not giving up the puck. The only instance that they really coughed up was on the fourth goal for the NHL All-Stars. The guy made a bad pass behind the net, and Bossi picked up and fed Gillies in front. And that was about the only flaw that I've seen after 2 periods. The NHL defensemen, just as I expect, good puck control, and it's been a real key to the game. They've had an awful lot of help from the forwards. The forwards have been picking up every loose man I've ever seen out there, and they've been playing just great.
You could pick 4 stars of the game right now and maybe choose those 4 defensemen the way they played. Salming has made some miraculous plays. Savard, Beck, and Larry Robinson. And as I say, but for a knee injury and the timing of this series, Brad Park might have been another we were talking about. It's nice talking to you.
Thank you, Dave. It's my pleasure.
4-1 for the NHL over the Soviet Union. Coming up next, a history on film of Madison Square Garden, live from New York. This is the Challenge Cup.
We as Canadians work.
As you know, this series of the century is being played in New York City at Madison Square Garden, one of the most famous buildings for sports in the world. Here is the story of the Madison Square Garden building.
The present Madison Square Garden is actually the 4th building to bear the name. It sits over Penn Station on 33rd Street between 7th and 8th Avenues and is, as every hockey fan knows, the home ice for the National Hockey League's New York Rangers. Hockey wasn't played in the original garden, which opened its doors in 1873. Actually, it was an old street railway horse shed converted to house circus-style extravaganzas by famed showman P.T. Barnum. And because it sat next to a park named after the 4th President of the United States, Madison Square, it eventually was called Madison Square Garden. The 2 main attractions of the original garden proved to be boxing, despite the fact it was illegal at the time, and horse shows, which attracted widespread interest. The second Madison Square Garden, built on the same site, featured a 325-foot tower, the second tallest building in New York at the time, which bore this statue of Diana, the goddess of the hunt, on top. An 1890 New York paper called the New Garden one of the great institutions of our time, along with Central Park and the Brooklyn Bridge. John L. Sullivan and Jack Dempsey, along with track star Pavo Nurmi, were big attractions in this second garden. The third garden was built in 1925, and this is where hockey became the major attraction it is now. Lester Patrick managed the first New York Ranger team, and they won the Stanley Cup in only their second year. Today, his name resides in the Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame, along with a host of other former NHL stars. Bill Cook, King Clancy, Eddie Shore, Bobby Hull, Maurice Richard, Frank Boucher, Ching Johnson, Gordie Howe, Howie Morenz. And of course, hockey wasn't the only thing going on at Madison Square Garden. Ice shows, 6-day bicycle races, and a full schedule of many other events kept the garden at the center of New York's entertainment scene. And in 1946, basketball made its entry into this world-famous sports center with a team called the New York Knickerbockers. Actually, the now-defunct New York Americans were the first hockey team to play at the garden. And in this display, here's Gordie Howe's skates and Wilt Chamberlain's basketball shoes. Quite a difference in size. These were filmed on display at the Hall of Fame, originally in the present Madison Square Garden, but now a private club. And this is a scale model of the 4th and present garden. Let's look at more memorable names enshrined in the Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame in their various categories. And remember, it all began with P.T. Barnum's Hippodrome, a converted street railway shed. along with hockey, ice shows, track and field, wrestling, bike racing, circus, and rodeo, all have their great names remembered here in the Garden Hall of Fame, as does bowling, tennis, and of course boxing, which historically has been a major Garden event. And so it's rather fitting that this historic inaugural meeting of the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet All-Stars is taking place in an arena that has traditionally showcased the big games and the big names. From its rather meager beginnings, through its artistic second building, and the third garden, where hockey opened and closed its doors, Madison Square Garden has grown to be an institution where great spectator events are staged. And certainly, the Challenge Cup fits right into that class.
Madison Square Garden, one of the most famous sports arenas in the world. Or as they say in New York, simply the Garden. Coming up very shortly, Dave Hodge and Howie Meeker and highlights.
It is an important goal. As we said of the Geinie goal, you got to get a buffer on these Soviets because they can strike so quickly. You're up 2, it's a little better, and certainly the 3-goal lead seems comfortable at the moment.
Well, everybody says, hey, the Soviets are so strong. Sure, granted, but I think our fellas are off the puck. But instead of killing them, instead of stopping the play and let the other Soviet player pick it up, he doesn't. Now watch here. Gillis stays on the puck. Soviet player comes, picks it up, and throws it behind the net, and no one's there. Bossi picks it up, out to Gillis. Trechek comes out slow and goes down. But certainly, Gillis on the puck, and Bossi reading where it's going to go, and the Soviet player again, instead of hanging onto the puck, throwing it away from the flow of the play, or throwing it faster behind the net, and it's no goal. But I'm happy to see that one go in. I want one more.
Maybe that's an example of what you can do, the gains you could make by getting on them in their own zone and taking advantage of what might be a Soviet weakness.
Well, again, on offense, Dave, it's anticipation. You look and analyze and react, and that's what our fellows do so well, and that's the result of it. Beautiful goal.
4-1 for the National Hockey League over the Soviet Union. Live from New York's Madison Square Garden, you're watching the Challenge Cup.
Oldsmobile Cutlass for 1979. It's different cars for different people. Like Cutlass Supreme Room, the nicest of luxury touches. Or Cutlass Salon, lots of front and rear headroom thanks to the distinctive roofline. And Cutlass Cruiser, a sedan ride in a hard-working wagon. Cutlass, solid Olds engineering and that great Cutlass feeling. All available in 79 with the V8 diesel engine. Have one built for you.
Of the century, the stars of the Soviet national team meet the all-star team of NHL, and it's all here on CBC. Game 2 comes to you this Saturday from Madison Square Garden in New York. Bobby Orr, a 4-1 lead. What will be the NHL strategy in period 3?
Well, I don't think they will try to sit on that 4-1 lead, Dan. I think they'll keep going after them. So many times you see teams try to sit on a big lead, and you end up playing improperly, and the game's tied up. So I think they'll keep going after them. I don't think you'll see any 3-on-2s. They're going to have that third man coming back and just play like they played the first 2 periods. Just 2 great periods.
You feel that forechecking the Soviets is one of the keys?
Well, watching the first 2 periods, I think they can be forechecked. I thought they may have been practicing this or been a little used to the forechecking now. I don't believe that they can that they like the forechecking, and that's the thing to do to them.
That's Bobby Orr, and now to Dick Urban.
Just one goal in the second period. Howie and Dave gave you another look at it. Clark Gillies from Mike Bossi, an all New York Islanders goal, if you will, at the 8:14 mark to make it 4-1. The shots on goal through 2 periods of play. The NHL outshooting the Soviets by a margin of 19-11. Lefleur, Bossi, and Geinie in the first period for Team NHL. Mikhailov, a power play goal for the Soviets. There is Mushkin, the backup goaltender, Tretiak, a young fellow who played with the Soviet Wings during their recent series of 4 games against NHL opposition. The Moscow 1980 Olympics coin program is presenting to a star in each of these games a silver coin set. The coins include scenes of Moscow and Leningrad and are the official coins of the 1980 Summer Olympic Games. Tony Esposito, the backup goaltender to Ken Dryden, as we are set for play in the third period, 4-1. NHL in the lead. Here's Danny Gallivan.
And for the Soviets, Petrov is at center. Mikhailov on the right side. Harlamov on the other wing against McDonald, Peril, and Sittler. NHL clearing it in. Starikov touched it, and a icing called against the NHL. Dryden in goal has a total of 11 shots. Didn't have too much to do from the point of view of quantity. But I think you will agree that of the 5 shots he had in that second period, he had to come up with 4 splendid saves.
Young fellow you're looking at, the youngest player on the Soviet team, won a job for this series with some fine play for the Wings in that series against NHL teams.
So the Soviets, everybody up for this face-off to the right of Dryden. On the draw, Robinson behind the net to Salming. He sees an opening, comes up on the right wing, goes to center. Mikhailov is after him. Salming clearing it in behind the net. Peril, watched by Vasiliev. Now on the left side, Harlamov gathering speed in over the line. Good move. He passes it back. Robinson knocked it away. Now to the side of the net, Salming. He cleared it off the boards. Lanny McDonald to Peril. Sittler is on the left side, cuts to center. Sittler on the backhand, couldn't get a good shot away against Vasiliev. Now Salming keeping it in. Makes a move against Harlamov. Salming turning. He takes a look behind the net to Peril. He centered to Lanny McDonald. And a blistering shot rattled off the board. Harlamov turning in his own zone with Mikhailov and Petrov at center. They hit the NHL line. They lose it there to Sittler. And he fired it back. Fedorov is now on defense, getting it back to Vasiliev. The Soviets making changes while the play goes on. Flukov. Now it goes on the right side. Kaputin is jammed in on the board. And Robinson cleared it down to the Soviet zone. Back in front of the net. They organize. Valderas. Fedorov. Vilya-Lednov. Now it's into the center ice area. And Savard broke it up. There's Barber. Backhanding one in. On the move is Geiney doing forechecking against Valderas. It goes to the corner. Barber moves in rather deeply. There's Geiney on the left side. He gets it. A shot right over Dion. Another shot to the open side from a sharp angle. Glorious scoring opportunity for the NHL there. Dion is hustling. Couldn't come up with it. Geiney is in there. It's passed back. Kaputin starting out into the center ice area. Over the line. Back broke it up. Now Barber clearing it on the right side. Vilya-Lednov laid it back there. He's behind the net trying to shake off the second of shot. Shot has it. He in turn lost it. And Golikov got it out to center. Vilya-Lednov is in over the line. The other Golikov gets it to the side of the net, and Dryden holds on for a face-off.
Right there, one of the few times the Soviets have thrown that pass right up the center and click. The Challenge Cup, the series of the century.
Via Rail Canada. It's a way of making travel enjoyable again. Because Via gives you a choice. A choice of how you go, a choice of fares with our new Fare for All plan, and of course there's a choice of trains. And lots of courteous, helpful Via people. It's your choice. Be good to yourself. Take the train.
Well, there's the Soviet announce team. Mr. Buzarov, who has been here so many times, as Bobby mentioned, does the game from ice level directly beside the Soviet bench.
Golikov, Vladimir, and Alexander up there with Makarov for the Soviets. It's cleared over the glass, and again they will face off in deep NHL territory. As we look at defenseman Perzukin. The shots on goal, 20-12 at this stage in favor of the NHL. They lead 4-1. NHL getting the draw. Dion trying to clear it out. It's kept in. Makarov right in front. There's a shot. They score! Picking up the rebound, Vladimir Golikov.
And the rebound was the key, Bobby Orr. They couldn't control it after Dryden made the first save.
They scramble in front of the net, Dick, and the rebound comes back to Golikov, and Kenny didn't have a chance. He was down. There was 2 or 3 bodies on him. With all the bodies there, you think I would have stayed under, but fortunately they didn't.
Now, early in the third period, the Soviets get on the board for the second time, and it's now a 4-2 hockey game. A close-up look at Dryden's first save. The pile-up with him pinned, and the rebound into the net.
So, a big goal for the Soviets. 4-2, NHL leading. Vasiliev, the veteran defenseman. Ahead to Golikov, who was upended at center by Trottier. Now for Buchan in the corner, takes a look. There's the announcement on the goal. To the side of the net it comes. Dryden covers up. Robinson failed to clear it out. It's centered right in front of the net. Alexander Golikov couldn't get a good shot. Gillies coming up with Trottier and Bossi. They clear it into the Soviet zone. Trottier behind the net to Bossi. Back to Gillies. There's a weak shot. It's in the crease, and Trottier cover it up.
Now, there's the young man who scored the goal, and the younger of the 2 Golikov brothers. And obviously, he puts the puck in the net back in the Soviet Union as well.
Face off to the right of Tretiak. Savard playing up inside the line with Beck. Now they have to go back. A spinorama move by Savard, and then he tosses a pass that missed Gillies, but it was offside in any case at the Soviet line.
Clark Gillies, the goal scorer here tonight, and Bobby, probably the most effective NHL body checker in the game.
Well, he's thrown a lot of good checks tonight. He's not really taking long runs at them, but it's something I think we have to do against the Soviets, is take their bodies, and Clark's certainly been doing it tonight. He's doing a fine job.
The Soviet line at the present time comprises Varnikov, Colvin, Kavorsov. Now it's cleared in by Savard. Vilyalednov into the corner. He falls, and the play is stopped again. So we're getting a fair frequency of whistles within the first 5 minutes of the third period as Coach Bowman looks on.
Time of that goal was 3:02.
Dion is tied up. Kavorsov starts out on the right side. He falls. Now Chuck and Lefleur on the move on the right side. A drop pass. There's a shot. It didn't miss by too much from the stick of Dion. The pass off the stick rolls back to the NHL line. Savard is forced back in there by Varnikov. It's out over the line. Varnikov is on it. Starikov gets it. He rolled it in over the line, and Savard around the net takes a look and plays it up on the left side. Shot trying to get it. The Soviets were on it. Now Dion coming up on the right side. Lefleur is cruising in front. Starikov blocked the pass intended for Lefleur. Dvorsov into the center ice area. Couldn't get very far. Dion to Lefleur. Back the shot. And it was broken up inside the line by Colvin. Now, Dvorsov couldn't get very far at center. Cleared it to Harlamov. The Soviets making changes. Puck is along the boards and cleared down the ice by Perro. Fedorov, the defenseman. Harlamov back there to get skating room. Played it over to Vasiliev. Soviets are way before the match center. They headman that puck. And the Krylov was just offside.
Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
Zenith announces a breakthrough. System 3. The best Zenith ever. The best ever. A brand new picture tube for the sharpest zenith picture ever.
Sharpest picture.
And an all-new modular chassis.
All new.
Designed to be the best performing, the most reliable color TV in Zenith history.
The most reliable.
Zenith System 3.
Zenith System 3.
It's the best Zenith ever.
One of the distinguished spectators here tonight, Dr. Gunter Stebetsky, president of the International Ice Hockey Federation.
Face-off outside the Soviet line. 14 and a half minutes left in the third period. NHL 4, USSR 2. Harold got it to the wing to Robinson. He fed it in there. The strategy of the NHL to get possession, clear it into Soviet territory. Try to hem in the Soviets before they can get that speed utilized.
17,438.
Well, here we see Chris Gambatti, Billy Harris, and the CBC radio crew handling the game on the other side of the arena.
Lanny McDonald missed on a golf swing. Is lugged into the center ice area over the line. Harlamov jammed out of the play by McDonald. Robinson to Sittler. He lost it to Mikhailov, who whipped it in over the line, and it's returned up by Stallman and propelled down the ice by McDonald. There's Carroll trying to center it. Here's Sittler returning it to the far side. Harlamov turning, coming out. He has some great moves. He hasn't shown too many tonight, however. He lost it. They failed to clear it out the first time, the NHL, and then McDonald, in clearing it, had to go over the glass.
NHL officials working tonight. Bob Myers, the referee. There will be NHL linesmen in all three of the games. Andy Van Helleman of the NHL will work the third game Sunday, and on Saturday afternoon, the referee will be the Soviet official, Viktor Dombrowski. The linesmen will change for each game.
Luptoff, number 22. Vilya Ledinov, 14. There's a shot over the top of the net by Luptoff. In on the boards, they jam, fighting for possession. Kapustin was given a shove by Clark, and there's the former president of the National Hockey League, Clarence Campbell. He will be formally honored by the NHL at the Waldorf Astoria tomorrow night. And he looks pretty well for a fellow who was in sick day last week. Those Campbells are rugged. Now up on the left side. Clark couldn't clear it out. Vilya Ledendorf knocked it back in there. Beck is tied up along the boards. Clark, aggressive, fights for it. The whistle goes just as Clark came away with it.
With a 4-2 lead, Dick, I think it's important now that the NHL All-Stars keep the puck moving ahead. Forget about the drop passes, over center ice and get it in and going after it. Trying to get fancy, a puck's going to bounce over the stick or something like that, and it's going to be 4-3 and they're back in the hockey game.
Barber gets it to the line. Pazukin with a weak shot, has it on the target, and another face-off.
This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York.
Can I help you?
Baboon Burger.
Nice car. What is it?
Chevy Chevette. Best-selling small car in North America.
What do you have on it?
AM radio, console, reclining bucket seats, white striped tires. It's all standard on the four-door Chevy Chevette. Even the hatchback.
Love it, but I don't need the hatchback.
How come?
I've already got a trunk.
Chevy Chevette. A lot of little car for the money.
Well, a group of distinguished members of Parliament from the Bahamas are here as guests of Mr. Ziegler of the NHL and Mr. Eagleson of the Players Association. Players Association meetings will be down there this spring. Hockey Legend Canada cameras will be there to cover it.
On the face-off, Savard to Clark. The corners are closed. Now Savard gets rid of it. Vilya Nedenov headed back in over the line. Gainie swings the pass to center. Luptoff getting it over to Kapustin. He's trying to feed it in front. The traffic is heavy there, and Barber clears it down the ice. Well, you see a pattern of the NHL playing it rather cautiously at times. With this 2-goal lead and 12 minutes and 40 seconds left in the hockey game. Algaris over the line. His pass is intercepted by Gainie. Gainie down on the left side. He's stopped along the boards by Vilya Ledinov. returned into the NHL zone. There's the steady veteran of the NHL, Savard. Over to his teammate Geyni. He flicked it into the Soviet zone. Starikov clearing it on the right side. Filya-Levinov coming in on the right side. He's cutting. He sent it right out in front. And is swept away by Salming, who has been a tower of power on that defense for the NHL tonight. Now there's a shot by Gillies who broke up the play. Golikov ahead to Makarov on the right side. Makarov gets a shot. He hits Salming with it. Rossier lost it. Back at the line. Starikov takes a shot. There's another one by Golikov. He sent it right out inside. And it's carried to the far right wing by Rossier. And he just got rid of it back to the Soviet zone, and the Soviets for the match center. They hit the NHL line. Knocked down at the line to Vortsov. Here's Lefleur. Ahead it goes to shot. Up on the right side, broken up at center. Lefleur got it back from Starikov. Lefleur's on the move. He shot it in there. Fighting for possession along the board. Now to the other side to Dion. And he just missed that pass. The Soviets. Vortsov at the line. He waited too long. Robinson ahead to shot. He shot breaking through the defense. And he couldn't get through there clearly and failed to pick it up. He's digging away at it along the boards. It comes to the side of the net. And it's held for a face-off.
Now they're almost at the halfway mark of the third period, and Bobby, you're right. The NHL has got to move it out. They've got to move toward the other end. They can't fire and fall back, really.
It appears that they're trying to sit on a 2-goal lead, and I'll tell you, you get burned every time you try to do that. They've got to get that puck over center and going after it. In our end, in their end, they've got to be careful, get it out over that blue line as safely as possible. Because the Soviets are skating right now.
4-2. Back to shot. He winds up and the shot ricochets off a leg. Pervukin is looking for a loose puck. They jam in on the board. Dion and defenseman number 2, Fedorov. There's Dion and Lefleur. He's been a hard worker tonight.
For Bobby the Guy Lefleur, the Soviets are seeing tonight a different player than in 76.
Well, I think he's a better player now.
A lot more
I think he gets better every year.
Just takes another shot. Fedorov in front of it again. He cleared it to center. Salming to Dion. He misses shot with it. He goes after it. Shot does on the pass. Went off to Vortsov. Back it is into the Soviet zone. Canadians moving up there to do their forechecking. There's a pass on the left side. It's lugged in over the line. Called on the offside against Fedorov.
You are watching the series of the century live from Madison Square Garden.
Canada is a big country. From the St. Lawrence to the Pacific, there's mile after mile of always changing, always beautiful scenery. To span these vast distances, Reimer Express offers Canadian industry fast, reliable service on a daily scheduled basis. A small shipment or a full load, Reimer Express has the necessary experience, equipment, and personnel to provide the service you want. Reimer Express. We've got what it takes to take what you've got.
Face-off outside the NHL line. 10 minutes and 8 seconds left in the third period. NHL 4, USSR 2. They jam in on the board. And again, they get a whistle.
Little social note right here. The Soviets held a meeting, the players. Petrov was the leader of it. They wanted to decide what movie to see here in New York. Settled on Superman. They all went en masse.
There's Savard. Harlamov and Mikhailov doing the forechecking. Vasiliev stopped his man, Sickler. Savard to the other side to Lanny McDonald, bumping along the board with Vilya-Levinov.
The Soviets now, Dick, have decided to leave 2 men in deep all the time, and that's what they're doing. They're down 2 goals. They've got to get one quickly to get back in the game. There's 9:47 to play, and they're sending everyone in. So it's going to be a tough last half of the third period for the NHL Stars.
5-2 shots in favor of the Soviets this period.
Many of these fans tonight in the Garden are, of course, Ranger fans, and they are hollering for Nilsson and Hedberg. Here's Carroll. A shot. And it went off Vasilyev's stick over the glass. With the frequency of the whistles, of course, the pace of this hockey game has slowed perceptibly, and it's understandable, I suppose, because of the cushion by the NHL, and we speculated at the end of the second period that at times they would play it in a rather cautious fashion in this third period. Shots on goal, 21-16 in favor of the NHL. A weak shot by Perreault. Vasiliev tried to set up Harlamov. Now a long pass. Sittler took the rink-wide pass from Sabard. Ilya Levinov bumping there with Lanny McDonald. Vasiliev ahead. It goes into the center ice area. Mikhailov is over the line. He dropped it to Petrov. There's a hard shot. Dryden had it well covered on the short side. Here's young Beck from the corner. He flipped it ahead. It got by Sittler. And back forward to Ilya Levinov. Vasiliev. Ahead it goes. Mikhailov against Robinson. It's in over the line. Harlamov bumping along with Salming. They go down. Petrov is trying to get it loose, but the whistle sounds, and the play again is stopped.
Now there's Mihailov, the captain. He keeps hollering at the linesman. I don't know whether they can understand him. Face-offs in the second period. Bob, again, the NHL controlled it. Out of 25, they won 16. So 36-19 over two periods. Important. Clark wins another one.
Robinson around the net. Barber looks behind him. Luchtov slapped it away from Clark. And again, a face-off. This time, just in over the NHL line.
Now Scotty Bowman's hearing it, as Danny mentioned, from the fans. Every time he makes a line change and Nilsson and or Hedberg don't show up, they boo.
Robinson. Salming returns it now. Geiney cleared it up on the left side. Luchtov is back there forward to the other side to Kapushkin. He ran into Barber. Pervukin tying up Barber. And the whistle brings the face-off down into Soviet territory.
This is live coverage of game number one for the Challenge Cup.
There it is. The last one. What a night.
Hey, Terry, celebrating with this?
Well, there's no two ways about it, Terry, old pal. You really did it this time.
What's the occasion?
Well, you knew they'd go for it. And the reaction?
Hey, all right.
The door, no less.
You'd have thought they'd never seen it before.
Next time, bring out the Bordeaux. Your generosity will be appreciated, and your good taste remembered.
It has been ruled by the official that the NHL was responsible for holding the puck in the corner, so the face-off outside the line is drilled back in by Salming. To the far side, Geiney bumping with Starikov along the boards. Now Starikov, he misses Kapushkin by 3 or 4 feet with that pass. Salming up on the left side to Geiney. Clark trying to come up with it. He does. Clark is over the line. There's the shot. Pervukin got his stick on it to deflect it wide. Starikov. He hits Balderas at the line into the center ice area. Balderas stick handling beautifully in over the line. Still with it. Now he is belted by Barber. 3 NHL players coming back. Barber right in front. And a kick by Gillies and a scintillating save by Tretiak. Luchtov over the line. Kapushkin winds up and he fired it. And it went off Robinson's stick over the net and over the glass.
Boy, NHL sneaked an extra player out there. Mike Bossi hopped on very quickly. There is Tretiak. What a super stop he made. Bobby on the deflection by K.Gill's.
Billy Barber makes a fine play here. This was Gillies' strength. He kept in there with sheer strength. He's having a heck of a game too, Gillies is. And Barber put I forget who was it he hit.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Or was it Balderas coming across?
The Golikov and Makarov, the forward line for the Soviets. Bossi, Trottier, and Gillies. There's Gillies getting a Trottier pass. The Vasiliev swings the pass for the Soviets. Golikov breaking through, and Dryden knocked it to the right wing board. Now it's right in front. Golikov takes his shot and deflected off Dryden just wide to that far side. That was a close call. The Soviets battle for it. Along the boards in front. Golikov. And he waited too long, and he lost it. Bossi coming out with Trottier. Trottier digging into the corner. It's knocked away from him by Fedorov. Now Vasiliev behind the net. He headmans the puck to Golikov. He lost it to Lefleur with that ahead move. Then he was knocked off balance very effectively by Vasiliev. Puck at the Soviet line. Alexander Golikov got it out. Bringing it back in as Dion working into the corner, puts on the brakes along the boards against Vasiliev to Lefleur, and the Soviets start out over the line. Two of them over on the far side. It goes to Colvin. He had just come off the bench and is called on the offside. 6 minutes and 4 seconds left in the hockey game.
I think Vasiliev is known as the best body checker on the Soviet team, and he did a good job on Lefleur. Not too many defensemen can get the hip into him when he gives you that wide move toward the board.
He threw a heck of a hip check, a Bobby Bond hip check.
Right.
And now Bernikov has Dvorak out there to join Colvin. Robinson has it. He cleared it through center. At the line. Shot fighting for possession against Bernikov to the far side. Dvorak into the corner. Colvin trying to center it. He falls. It's whipped along the left side. And down the ice it goes. Vilya Levinov back there for him. To the far side. Lefleur keeping it in. Gives it to Dion. Dion swings it right in front. And another outstanding save on a deflection by Tretiak. This time off the stick of Lefleur. Soviets coming back in. Here's Colvin. Draped in on the boards by Robinson. It's behind the net on the mesh, and the play is stopped with 5:16 to play in the hockey game. 4-2 for the NHL.
Well, another youngster in the Soviet team. He's only 21 years of age, Varnikov. 5 goals and 5 assists in those 4 games the Wings played against NHL opposition. And now we'll go downstairs and join Dave Hodge.
Following the game, the Molson Player of the Game Awards gold medallions will be presented to one player from each team. Making the presentations tonight, one of the all-time greats of this game, Jean Beliveau, former centerman with the Montreal Canadiens.
Here's Landy McDonald centering it in front of the net. The Soviets starting out on the right side. Big Petrov fired it. It's off Perro's stick. Goes to Stallmate, and he dumped it down the ice. Here's Perro going in a goal. Perro is called on the outside.
Larry Robinson really hit Harlamov on that full exchange, and the Soviet star has gone to the bench, and he is hobbling to the bench and has just made it. Robinson hit him dead on just outside the Soviet blue line, and he shook him up. Here's a look, I think, at that last
Dion and Lefleur, right. Well,
back of the net.
Lean over to put the puck. Lefleur goes to the net.
Now the Soviets in the NHL zone. Screenshot. Starikov took that, but Dryden had no difficulty in the final analysis with it. Petrov passed it back. It's intercepted by Perro with that head fake. Now Perro getting the pass back. Actually, it was a shot by Salming, and he couldn't make contact. Now into the center ice area. Over the line. Makarov fired that hard shot over the top of the net up on the right side. Clark coming up with Sittler. Over to Sittler. Sittler going right in on goal. And he went in too far with Tretiak coming out to block him. Now the puck into the center ice area. Savard waiting for Barber to get onside. Savard working the corner, trying to get in front. Takes the shot, the rebound. It's Barber trying to center it. He's tied up partially and now completely by Vasiliev, with Clark going in there, getting a stoppage in play.
Boy, what a chance for Darryl Sittler. He's had 2 big ones in this game. Early in the game, he was hauled down for a penalty when he was in alone. And right there, eyeball to eyeball with Tretiak, Bobby. Here it is.
He couldn't get a handle on it. He seemed to lose it. It seemed to jump on him right here, and he loses control of it. And Tretiak comes out and cuts him down.
3 minutes and 48 seconds left in the hockey game. 2 goals separating the teams. 4-2. NHL leading. Savard and Beck playing up, and there's Savard whipping a shot. It went off the leg of Fedorov. Now Geyni trying to get it. Fedorov couldn't get the pass. It was blocked by Barber. Clark failed to keep it in. Kapustin, his pass nowhere near the intended receiver, Balderas. Puck is back into Soviet territory. Fedorov gets that puck ahead. Balderas, he has excellent speed coming in on the right side. He has the good moves too. But that time he couldn't outguess young Beck. The Canadian representative of the NHL and the United States representative, we get both of them in there, they shot it down the ice. That was a quick recovery, but didn't do it completely.
Not to mention the Swedish players who are in the lineup as well, Daddy.
Well, they're Canadians now.
3:06, Bobby left. Scotty Bowman knows time is a big factor right here.
Now doing a great job forechecking.
Alexander Golikov tipped it to his brother Vladimir. He has it on the boards. He fired it back to his brother on the other side. Makarov is the other forward for the Soviets. There's a shot cleared out to the right side by Salming. Vladimir Golikov coming in on the right side. His shot went off Robinson. Robinson covering up in the corner. Makarov. He lost it. Rossier just got out over the line. That's back in, called on the offside. 2.5 minutes left in the hockey game.
Well, there's number 25, Vladimir Golikov, who scored the second Soviet goal in this hockey game here in the third period to make it 4-2. 2.5 minutes, and again the Ranger fans respond to the fact that a line change does not produce either Nilsson or Anders Hedberg. I don't believe either one of them has been on the ice here in this third period.
Well, Scotty now is going to his defensive players. He's got the 2-goal lead. He doesn't need any more goals, so I'm sure that's the reason Hedberg and Nilsson haven't been on this third period.
Gavortsov, Varnikov, and Koven. The line at the moment for the Soviets. Time becoming a very important factor for the Soviets. Digging into the corner, Lefleur. He lost it to Bilyalednov. Now Starikov is behind the net. He comes up with it. He headmans the puck. It goes all the way down the ice. It went through the corner of the crease. No icing. Lefleur missed a pass on the right side. Bilyalednov again clearing it out to Starikov. Colvin over on the left side for Varnikov. Gavortsov to the left wing against Savard, and it's knocked back into the center ice area. At the line, Schutt cleared it to center. 4-2, NHL leading the Soviets. 1.5 minutes left in the hockey game. Vasiliev backtracks to his own line. Lanny McDonald had a chance to pick up the puck, and he missed it. Varnikov fades to the left side, back to Vasiliev. That had something on it. That was almost eye-high. It went off his stick and ricocheted, and Dryden had difficulty. He made that move, that unnatural move at the last split second. You could see it from here. Now on the left side, coming in over the line. Mikhailov to Petrov. Less than a minute to go. 57 seconds left. Makarov on the left side. The pass intended for Mikhailov. Robinson knocked it to center. Vasiliev clearing it to center to Petrov. To Mikhailov on the right side. Ran into Perro and Robinson. Robinson back near the corner to pick it up to the other side to Lanny McDonald, who propelled it down into the center ice area. Now a half minute left. Here's Petrov. Petrov is working in there. Makarov tried to get a shot. He was checked by Salming. Back to the line. There's a screen shot from Fedorov, and it was wide. Vasiliev keeping it in. The Soviets with some final pressure here. And Salming finally rolls it down the ice. The countdown has started. 4-3. Vasiliev getting it to center. The game
it is, Bobby Orr. The final score, 4-2. Shots on goal in the final period, 9-5 for the Soviets, but 24-20 overall for Team NHL. And I would have to think that, on balance, the 4-2 score represents a pretty good indication of the play tonight.
Dick, they had a plan. The NHL All-Stars had a plan. They stuck with their plan. They played very, very intelligent hockey. Kenny Dryden came up with the saves when he had to, and I thought it was a fantastic game.
Well, you're right. They had the early lead, and sometimes that can lull a team into some false security, if you will. The Soviets had moments when they did dominate things, but Dryden, even as you pointed out, not many saves in that second period in particular, but big saves, every one of them, and it made a difference.
It was a great team effort. Lanny McDonald, I don't think he was in on the scoring. No, he wasn't in on the scoring, but defensively, he played a heck of a game. He was that third man coming back all night long. Good body checks. Guys like Lanny played a fantastic game.
Well, the boys in the trenches, the Gainis, the Gillies, the McDonalds, they were the ones that really slugged it out. I thought Lefleur played a magnificent game tonight all around. Of course, when you get a goal as he did after only 16 seconds, it can set you up. Bobby, thanks very much, and we certainly look forward to games 2 and 3 working with you here in the broadcast booth.
Thank you.
4-2, the final score. Team NHL beating the Soviet national team live from New York. This is the Challenge Cup.
Get ready.
Science has made an important discovery in outer space, inner space. The age of the Malibu, 1979 Chevrolet Malibu. It measures up on the inside, where dimensions really count. It gives you dashboard modules that are easy to remove for quicker service. And Chevrolet Malibu features GM's high-pressure compact spare for inner trunk space. And the standard V6 engine saves space, saves weight. 79 Chevrolet Malibu. It has more for you on the inside. A new star in the age of inner space.
Yep. We have an extra moment here with Bobby Orr. Just to recap again, Bobby, I'd like you to perhaps get in a little more detail of the game played by Guy Lefleur, because he has been chosen the outstanding NHL player. Golikov, number 25, the outstanding player for the Soviets.
Well, you asked earlier, what's the difference in Guy Lefleur now than 76? And if it's possible, I think he's a smarter player now. He's matured. I've often heard people say, well, defensively, he's not that good, but he's got the puck all night long, and if you've got the puck, that's a great defense. But he's just improved since 76. He's just a fantastic athlete.
When they talked about the setup of the series, they said, well, you're going to see Lefleur and Balderas, and, we say he's our best, they say Balderas is their best. Tonight was really no contest. I can't recall. They had Balderas shackled all night.
Well, he was hit a couple times. I think Billy Barber hit him once. Larry Robson hit him a good check. Clean checks, good checks, but if I had my choice, I think I'd have to go with Mr. Lefleur.
Bobby, very briefly, we just have a few seconds left. Anything about the Soviets tonight that surprised you a little bit?
Not really. No, I don't think anything, Dick. I think that's what Scotty expected. That's what I expected. I think that's what the players expected. Saturday's going to be another tough one.
Okay, Bobby, thanks very much. The presentations are going on now to Players of the Game by Jean Beliveau. Let's join that now.
It's a great pleasure tonight to present the Molson Player of the Game Award for a fine effort and a great exhibition. Il me fait plaisir de présenter le médaillon Molson. Guy Lefleur qui a été choisi, le joueur, c'est le plus distingué pour l'équipe du Canada. Guy, sincères félicitations.
Merci.
Encore une fois, de cette magnifique exhibition. To Guy, who was chosen the NHL Player of the Game, sincere congratulations, and it's a pleasure to present the Molson Player of the Game Award.
What have I got on camera? So there you have it. Jean Beliveau, one of the all-time greats who never really got a chance to participate in something like this, a big international confrontation, officiating at the ceremonies honoring the players of the game. 4-2, Team NHL winning from Madison Square Garden in New York. This is the Challenge Cup.
Oldsmobile Cutlass for 79 is different cars for different people. Those who want the nicest of luxury touches choose Cutlass Supreme Broom. With richness inside you'd expect in bigger, more expensive cars. Or drive the great space efficiency machine, O's Cutlass Salon. Inside you'll find lots of front and rear legroom and headroom, thanks to the distinctive Salon roofline. A wagon in the Cutlass class should marry practicality with O's quality, and Cutlass Cruiser does. A sedan ride in a hard-working wagon with an available 5.7-liter V8 diesel engine. Only O's offers diesel V8 power for mid-sized cars. All Cutlass models come with solid O's engineering and that great Cutlass feeling on the road. Step up to Oldsmobile. Have one built for you.
The National Hockey League wins the first of 3 Challenge Cup games by a score of 4-2. Guy Lefleur and Vladimir Golikov are selected as the players of the game, and the NHL got a quick lead, which was very instrumental in this victory. A goal in the first minute by Lefleur, and then at 16:22 on a power play by Mike Bossi. The Soviets had their moments where they controlled play, and Boris Mikhailov on a power play seized one of those moments to give the Soviets their first goal. But Bob Gейни scored a very big goal to put the NHL in front 3-1, and then the only goal of the second period was by K.Gillis, giving the NHL the 4-1 lead. They played with that lead in the third period. The Soviets got the only goal by Golikov, and the NHL wins 4-2. But this series is not over. There are 2 games left, and you could not say that the Soviets were outclassed. Tonight, they were outscored. The next game will be Saturday afternoon. Note the starting time, 2 o'clock from Madison Square Garden, and we hope you'll be with us after watching this one. There's more great hockey coming up. Great stars, there could be lineup changes on both sides, and the NHL needing 2 victories to clinch the cup and wanting 3 victories to show domination will be at it again on Saturday. We bid you good night from New York.
Game 1 of the Challenge Cup, the series of the century, has been brought to you by your Pontiac Buick GMC dealers. And by your Chevrolet Oldsmobile and Chevrolet truck dealers across Canada. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786.
This telecast has been produced for CBC by Canadian Sports Network in association with Harcom Consultants Limited. It is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the entertainment of the viewing audience. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of any kind in whole or in part with it.
Tonight, on the other NBA game, Madison Square Garden tonight, the first game in the best-of-3 Challenge Cup series. The NHL All-Stars defeated the Soviet Union national team 4-2. Here with a report for Channel 7 Sports is Bud Fotopoulos.
It was billed as the series of the century, the top Soviet stars against the top stars of the National Hockey League. The NHL scored first, Bobby Clarke of the Flyers, passing to Guy Lefleur of the Canadiens. The NHL led 1-0 after only 16 seconds of play. The Stars scored again at 6:42 into the first.